trying to get to the MSC race. One man has all the clues to help you solve your blues. EJ is his name, and rockets are his game. Bolder than any man, crazy creations are his plan. Cities, Kerbal, and workers, they all are at his command. Oh God, that's all I can think of. Chat bothers him all day and night, but Eej always puts up a fight. Weird impressions, internet memes, EA is always so extreme. I'm not a good songwriter as you can. Turbo stuck in space, well, you're trying to get to the MSC race. One man has all the clues to help you solve your blues. EJ is his name, and rockets are his game. Bolder than any man, crazy creations are his plan. Cities, Kerbal, and workers, they all are at his command. I don't know if that's all I can think of. Chat bothers him all day and night, but Eej always puts up a fight. Weird impressions, internet memes, EA's always so extreme. I'm not a good songwriter as you can. Yeah.
He's not a good songwriter as you can. Or something. Oh, hang on. I got a message. Might be important. Anyway, you are fired. Oh, I'm sorry. At least I won lunch. Ship and Booster are moving to the pad on the 20th and the 21st. Fox, that seems to be the case, dude. Yeah, that seems to be the... Ow. What the heck? What the heck's going on here? Ain't that and you break the dang hat and it starts prickling you? Look at that. Look at the prickles. Dang prickles. Pricklies. Ah, good for lots of things. See, good and bad. See? See? I'm not bald. Look. See? I got plenty of hair. Or something. I sent you my song many times, but you never heard it once. I've been working 14-hour days, man, for the last, 3 weeks. Give me a freaking break. Look, I look like I got punched in the face. Where's his hat? There you go. Don't bend your head forward like that. The light reflects off your dome and reflects right into the camera. Tessa, I don't think that's how that works. I think you might be full of poop. It's just, there's a slight possibility that you might have a very severe case, or very mild case of severe brain damage. Some swamp gas reflected off of Venus. All right, anyway. Professional time. Okay, so read previous. I don't want to. I don't want to read previous. See? Hey, look, you know, the hair's looking pretty good. Looking pretty. Jesus, tap dancing Christ. That's awful. That's awful. Let's just put that back on, huh? Okay. All right, cool. Okay, Trey, yeah, I saw your last. I'll get to that in a second. This is the Space and Rocket Review. February 19th, 2025. I am EJ, your host. Usually I'm the only host here. No, I'm the only one here. Accurate depiction of flight operations right now. Hello? Nope. 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 That guy would be playing Galaga, but it's in demo mode over there. See that? I don't know what to do. The flight director is not, I mean, he might be hiding behind that box right there. You don't know. Gray hair is a sign of wisdom. That was not gray hair. That was no hair. They left for lunch. Yeah. Call it hat hair for a reason. Keep wearing hats and it goes away with it. Dude. Yeah. I don't know. But if I stop wearing hats, dude, that's the thing. If I stop wearing hats and maybe like in the off chance that it grows back, I have to deal with you guys just being quite annoying for a considerable amount of time. Well, it grows back. Maybe give it a chance for a moment. Gee, if I can't see that link, dude, you can't link directly to Discord because I use the Discord app. Okay. All right, what's this one? We'll listen.
In the Twitch verse, where stars align, there's a streamer, a mastermind. EJSA, shuttle inside, guiding us through the cosmic night. From the launch through the cosmic night. From the launch pads to the shuttle's roar, EJSA leads us to explore the force passion and cosmic gleam. He's the streamer of space dream.
Flavia, thank you for yesterday's coverage. Oh yeah, the double launch was awesome.
EJSA spirit soars, a shuttle enthusiast at the core. From the launch pads to the shuttle's roar, EJSA leads us to explore with force passion and cosmic gleam. He's the streamer of our space dream.
All right, we'll get into
On the cosmic
Look.
stage, he takes command. With shadow tales and dreams so bright in a stream, we find delight as we journey through the cosmic night. From the launch pads to the shuttle's roar, EJSA leads us to explore with force passion and cosmic gleam. He's the streamer of our space dream. EJSA, our cosmic guide. In your stream will of force passion and cosmic gleam. He's the streamer of our space dream. EJSA, our cosmic guide.
It's pretty good, Chief. It's not bad. That's on purpose, dude. It's a checkerboard, Dennis. That's for instrumentation, for visual instrumentation, so you can figure out orientation of the SRBs. Think of it like nice. Think about it like that was good, Chief. If you're watching like a crash test, they have little checkerboards on the vehicle to see how like the vehicle deforms. Those are the same thing, but with rockets. They've been doing that for a long time. That's why Saturn V had like checkerboards on it. It looked like it had a bunch of checkerboards, so you could see the vehicle move. All copyright rights are yours. Oh, thanks, man. So, check this out. This is coming from NASA EGS, Exploration Ground Systems. They have all 10 SRB segments are stacked for Artemis 2. And just, I don't know about you guys, I could sit here and look at these pictures inside of the VAB all day. They capped the SRBs. The last time we checked in, they had 9 segments stacked. This one was not stacked, so they've stacked this one, and then they stacked the nose cones on top of them. Where's the core stage? Where we're currently positioned, the core stage is about 300 feet that way. Yeah. If you could tilt this camera down, it would be right below us. Yep. Actually, this is from High Bay 4 looking at High Bay 3. It's actually over there. Like that way. It's over there. You'd have to look down. You'd have to look like back and to the left. Back and to the left. "300 feet, 93 meters that way." Thanks. Why can't we have more of these? That's, that's been on my mind a lot lately, Rocket. Hold on. I gotta get the Starbase Live sounds in the background. There we go. That's been on my mind a lot. It's good to see them stack. I want that core stage on there, but that's pretty much the next step once these are ready to go. Put the core stage on there, ICPS. And then you're just waiting for an Orion. Anyway, really good news. Artemis 2 is still slated for 2026, but I'm not really sure when that's going to happen. We'll see. We'll see. Does Morton Thiokol still make these? Northrop Grumman is the company that owns the company that merged with a company that bought another company that merged with another company that bought another company that was Morton Thiokol. Morton Thiokol was bought by Alliant Tech Systems, if I'm remembering right. And then Alliant Tech Systems merged with Orbital Sciences and became Orbital ATK, and Orbital ATK was bought by Northrop Grumman. I think I might be missing a couple of links in that family tree, but hey, whatever. That's good enough. Could you take the stack out minus Orion to do tanking tests? Sure. Why not? YR4 impact chance is down to 1.5% if you don't already have it. Well, I didn't, but now we do. Tragic. Yeah, Orbital ATK was bought by Northrop Grumman Corporation and is still based in Luca, Mississippi. It's all just a Leidos company. Anytime I see Leidos in the wild, Rocket Guy, like the scanner systems, like at TSA and stuff, I always think in the back of my mind, Leidos. A Leidos company. It's a Leidos company. All right. It's a Leidos company. Did you know that? Did you know that it's a Leidos company? Aerojet Rocketdyne, the Leidos company. L3 Harris, Aerojet Rocketdyne, Max Plus, a Leidos Harris company. I don't know. Come up with better names. Dynetics, a Leidos company. Oh, yeah, I forgot all about them. SpaceX, a Leidos company. No. Anyway, really good pictures coming from them. That's super cool. Also, there's a big post on X about the Stennis Space Center. First of 24 new RS-25. This is the RS-25E that was brought onto the test stand out at Stennis. That's a brand new motor. It actually looks ridiculously simplified compared to a shuttle engine. That's actually super cool. I was linked this last night. I was looking at it, but Yeah, that seems to be way simpler than a shuttle motor. Shuttle motor has all kinds of stuff on it. E. RS-25. E. EA engines. It's in the game. Finally, been wanting these since 2018 or whenever the procurement contract kicked in. I don't see a difference between the shuttle motor and this. Are you serious? I just told you the differences like a moment ago. Do they have a blade of nozzle? Nope. No blade or nozzles. Do you know what the white bands around the circumference of the nozzles are? They are ridges to keep the nozzle from yoinking too much. Stiffener rings, I guess, if you want to call them that. Yeah, Rocket Guy, there's a big difference. It's still got its heat exchanger. You still have your HPOPT, or HPOTP, and then HPF, or LPFTP. And your power heads are still there. But look, dude, whatever this block, whatever was over here, you're missing a bunch of stuff. There is a big difference. Like, that is a lot simpler. Think like Raptor 1 to Raptor 2 simpler. Wow. And then the manufacturing process for the nozzles is actually borrowing manufacturing process, it's borrowing manufacturing processes from the RS-68. So they basically retooled the RS-68 production lines to make these, which is pretty cool. So here, let me show you. I'll show you guys the difference. All right, so let me see if I can find a picture more or less from the same angle. Okay, yeah, that's good enough. Okay, see the shuttle engine? Okay. You looking? Little bit simpler. Keep in mind, this is rotated probably about 45 degrees, but yeah, way simpler. I actually didn't bother to look at the plumbing with this, but that is very simplified comparatively to shuttle motors. They took all the reusable stuff out. There's another picture from the exact same mount if you scroll up. Good enough. This is off of collect space. Yeah. Yeah, that's a little bit closer. See what I mean? Very, very simple. Well, simpler. Looks like they run at 113%. Yep. Look at your engine. Now back to mine. Now back at your engine. Now back to mine. Nice. Looks almost the same. Dude, the plumbing over here is way simpler. Like, yeah. Nice. Raption, you just got back from a day at KSC. Nice. Nice. RS-25E, a Leidos product. Nodders. How can the RS-25 run at 104% of rated performance? Oh, yeah, sure. So the engine has a baseline rating, right? Okay, so think about it like this. If I buy a car, and that car has 300 horsepower, okay? And I do some tweaking here and there. You do some tweaking here and there. Maybe we add a turbocharger to it, right? Now it makes 350 horsepower, right? 300 horsepower is your baseline rating, right? Make sense? Now it makes 350. So you're operating a percentage above, you know, what you're originally rated at. Now, that's probably at the behest of some other components, right? If I have that turbo on there, you don't get everything right, or if a component isn't good enough to deal with this, right? Like, it could blow, you could blow up the engine. Same is the case with rockets. You could push them too much. You push them too much, they will explode. Don't worry. That happens. Yeah, it does. So they probably 1062. They've probably upgraded these engines to the point because you could just. It's a one-time use. You're not reusing them. So that 100% of rated performance, the original performance rating for an RS-25 engine is probably super conservative because of reuse. Now, because SLS engines aren't being reused, there's really no point in doing that now, is there? So run the thing. Run the thing. You're not reusing it, so run it. Turn the boost up, if you catch my drift. More power. More power, Mr. Sulu. I'm giving her all she's got, Captain. If we give any more, the whole thing will blow. So yeah, 104% rated is baseline. It's rated off of its baseline rating. So like 1062 with the shuttle engine and all the shuttle engine family of engines, right? Yeah, the rating was like the Block 1 and the Block 2 shuttle motors. That were implemented throughout the program were able to operate a little bit at a little bit higher thrust, like 104 or 103, 104% rated. These SLS motors can go to like 113. They go way up there. Like once again, because you know a lot of this stuff wasn't necessarily built for that, but the RS-25E is. So like. Yeah, you're only going to use it once. Just send it, man. Send it. Now, don't get me wrong. The engine is still reusable. They're going to put this one on the test stand, and that is an RS-25E. That is a production RS-25E. It's not a test mule either, which is pretty rad. That's no joke, dude. Now me and the mad scientist gotta rip apart the block and replace the piston rings you fried. Interesting note here. They have 2 pallets for 2 motors right there. See, there's one with a motor on it, and then there's another pallet up there that does not have a motor on it. I'm wondering if they took the test mule engine off of this, the RS-25E like prototype, put it here, and then replaced it on the stand with a real one. When you run into engine rich, you get the Delta 2. We've had an anomaly. That one is just the stealth one, guys. Wonder if Elon will try to save money and redesign the engines. Now, David, okay, no, probably not, but not for the reason that you think. Dude, this is a redesigned engine. We're good. This thing's great. It's fine the way it is. I'm telling you, the hardware is fine. Do I have a problem with throwing RS-25s in the ocean? Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Is that the best engine that you could use for a super heavy launch vehicle? No. There's way better choices. Were there better choices in 2018? No. No, there were not. For what it's worth. Like an SLS with some Raptors down there in a Methalox core stage would be pretty spicy. That'd be pretty sick. Or some B4s down there. That'd be pretty good. Anyway, is that L3 Harris RS-25? Is that an L3 Harris RS-25E? Yeah. So the big thing, David, would be not to redesign this, but figure out ways to make more of them. If you're going to redesign it around mass production. Because even then, this contract is only for 24 of these things. That's for 6 flights. So that gives us enough. We have the contracts in place for enough motors till what? Artemis 10? Because 1, 2, and 3 are using X space shuttle motors, right? And then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 are going to be using these. Now what? See what I mean about scaling? You're good to Artemis 10. That's not really that much. Could you make Raptor run hydrogen, though? No. No. It doesn't have the... No, you can't do that. If I look out of the balcony right now, I can see an AR-22. That would have been a good idea. Willie! 26-month resub. A-10 is 20 years... Artemis 10 is like 20 years from now at this pace, is it not? Unless something changes. Speaking of changes... It's coming from Joey Roulette at Reuters. NASA's Associate Administrator Jim Free, a key figure who has defended the agency's moon program, is leaving NASA on Saturday per two people familiar with his plans. And NASA's Chief Financial Officer and Chief Information Officer and top procurement official at NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center had their retirements announced yesterday, according to a person familiar. Story being updated here. NASA's losing 4 key senior officials close to its flagship mission, a flagship moon program, according to people familiar with the changes, adding more uncertainty over the agency's exploration trajectory as Elon and the president play up Mars missions. Jim Free was heading for the exit once Bill Nelson left. Yeah. Jim Free, NASA's associate administrator, who has been a central voice defending the agency's Artemis moon program, is planning to leave the agency by Saturday. And in Huntsville, 3 key officials at Marshall Space Flight Center, one of the agency's 10 field centers and the epicenter of the Artemis moon program, not really, but all right, had their retirements announced internally on Tuesday, according to a person familiar with the announcement. These roles at Microsoft Flight Simulator, Marshall Space Flight Center, are the Chief of Procurement, Finance, and Information. Were filled in an acting capacity by deputies and other NASA officials. No replacement for Free was announced. I don't know who familiar is, but you get a dictionary and find out who to... You get the phone book and find out who familiar is. Mr. Familiar. If he's firing people at NASA, I want to know who he is. NASA spokespeople did not... NASA PAOs did not return requests for comment. The leadership shakeup adds more uncertainty over NASA's direction in space. Oh, jeez. As Musk, the CEO of SpaceX, who has long envisioned crew missions to Mars, oversees a sweeping review of NASA records as a special employee of the current administration and seeks to cut staff and programs. That's absolutely 100% wrong. That's absolutely 100% wrong. Wow. Joey, come on, man. That sentence is 100% inaccurate. I can say that with the utmost confidence. Yeah, that's not right at all. No, Elon can't go near NASA. He can't. Too conflict of interest. He can't do it. He can't mess with NASA stuff. The president... Okay, all right. Not that I go day to day finding stuff that the Orange Man says, all right? I have better things to do. But also at the same time, he definitely said the other day that Elon cannot do that because it's a conflict of interest and he's not going to. So that line is 100% wrong. Right. And who will tell him no? Oh, I don't know, the president. He can't, guys. SpaceX has too many contracts with NASA. It's a huge conflict of interest. That's not going to happen. Yeah, you don't trust that. Well, neither does Joey, apparently. The only difference is Dr. Gnome, what you said is an opinion. This guy's reporting it as news. Musk's SpaceX has $15 billion worth of contracts with NASA, including a contract to land humans on the moon with its Starship rocket. Free, who is in his mid-50s, announced his departure plans to agency officials in a meeting on Wednesday, saying it was a tough decision to make. How about we be empirical instead of speculative? That's what I'm trying to do, Rocket Guy. I'm trying to give sources. Yeah, like, that's what he's pretty much said verbatim. Like, what do I know? Just trying to stay objective in this crazy world, and don't like getting crap for it, but what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? I'm just gonna go outside in my pool with the damn ducks. I'm just gonna go see my ducks. Anyway. Some agency officials expected his eventual departure, as many Trump advisors criticize elements of NASA's moon program, such as SLS, an over-budget but operational moon rocket. Musk and Trump and I don't think it's really over budget. I think it's just late. I think that's a big distinction there, but whatever. Splitting hairs. Musk and Trump in recent months have relegated potential missions to Mars as a possible alternative to the moon, the much closer celestial body that Trump, in his first presidential term, has set as NASA's core space exploration target, with long-term moon bases functioning as a proving ground for Mars missions. But with Musk's roughly $250 million support for the president and his influential new role at the White House, talk of prioritizing new, more difficult missions to the Red Planet has threatened to upend an agency that, since Trump's first term, has reoriented its structure and roughly $25 billion annual budget to focus on the moon. That was always the plan? No? Yes, maybe. That does so, Chickenhead. This doesn't say anything about it being over budget. It's just said how much it's cost. Oh boy. Oh boy. Flat funding. Lovely. You see that? That's if you're gonna pick a gripe with this thing, you want to know why it's late? Because you funded it like that. That's not how you do that. That's really a bad way of doing that. But, you know, 2017 is when it was supposed to launch. Like I said, it's late. It's not over budget. It's late. Very late. As of 2022, NASA states that the development of Artemis SLS cost 42.5% more than originally projected. Scroll down. Okay. All right. Okay, Chicken, and you're not picking up what I'm laying down. All right. I'll be a little more clear. Yeah. Okay. NASA's projected budget. Yeah. If you want, right there. There's your line. Right. 42.5% more than originally projected. First of all. Okay. So $49 billion. Right, is the total budget. That's what it says up at the top. A 42% overrun. So someone, 11 years ago, we'll say 11 years ago. Somebody 11 years ago thought we were going to the moon for $25 billion. With no lander, no plan, interim stages. Dude, if I'd known more about spaceflight architecture at the time, I would have called that person an idiot. like many times over. Like you're an idiot. There's no way that's happening. Do you see what I'm talking about? Yeah, you could sit here and say, sorry, it's kind of a little bit of an entrapment on my part, chicken head. I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm trying to illustrate a point here, okay? You could say that it's over budget. You could say that all you want. Really? Okay, yeah. NASA said it's 42%. Yeah, okay. And once again, I'll ask what I always ask. Okay, so NASA knows how much a moon mission is going to cost? NASA, who hasn't launched any person to the moon in 50 years? Now, I suppose you could make the argument that they're the foremost expert on this stuff, right? Right? Scale the costs of the Apollo program, then, taking into account the price of inflation. Look at the costs then. They clearly didn't do that. Not even taking into account inflation when SLS came around. They didn't do that because they said we were going to go to the moon. Let's see. SLS came on the books in 2013. They said we were going to get to the moon in 2017 on a $25 billion budget. Nope. Nope. Could have told you that. Could have told you that wasn't happening. Could have told you that 10 years ago. So, you could say SLS is over budget. You could sit here and insinuate it, right? You could do all that other crap, right? Like, if you really want to, like, Planetary Society clearly has no problem saying this, under the guise of some whatever fiscal responsibility or whatever the heck that is. But, like, the point that I'm getting at is that how the hell do you know how much it's going to cost? How do you know? Not you, chicken. How do they know? How does NASA know? We didn't really get the whole cost of what it takes to go to the moon until we compounded the cost of the Apollo program after the fact. And once again, it feeds back to another thing that I really wanted to segue into. So I kind of put that out there. I was kind of hoping someone would take the bait, chicken, which is why I'm sorry. Sorry, man. Not trying to be a jerk. Compared to what? Compared to what? What do we compare to? It's over budget. It's over budget because NASA knows the price of how much it's going to take to get to the moon. No, they clearly don't, or else they would have budgeted this correctly. So they clearly don't. So if they don't know, how is it over budget? See what I'm talking about? You don't know how much it's going to cost to get to the moon. You know why? Because we can't predict the future, right? This speaks to a big thing that I'm getting at. Like, a rocket can't be signed into legislature and funded this way. It's a really bad idea because you get flat funding, and flat funding gives people fodder, right? Because the progress is slow because you're not funding it on a bell curve, right? Like how a normal development cycle program would go, right? You're not funding it on a bell curve. You don't fund it on a bell curve, right? Nothing's going to get done. And then you're just giving people more fodder for cancellation. Do you see what I'm trying to say? Northrop underestimated the cost and contract went from 2.5 to 4.4 billion. Yeah, because okay. You're right. Yeah, that's right. How the hell do they know how much it's going to cost? That's the point. Nobody knows how much it's going to cost to go back to the moon. Nobody knows that. Nobody knows that total cost involved, but we pretend like we do. We pretend like we do, and we don't. But we also sit here and pretend like we do. That's the point. That's what I mean when it's funny you see articles that say, oh, SLS is over budget. No, it's not. And it's funny because the Planetary Society, a body that's supposed to advocate for more space flight, is saying, SLS is 42% over budget. No doubt somebody will use that as fodder to justify getting rid of it. Right? We don't realize that us perpetuating this stuff, right? Saying stuff like that, saying it's over budget, saying it's too expensive, as spaceflight fans, us perpetuating that, right, is inadvertently giving people fodder to cancel the program. Joe even said it right here in his article. He said it up there. See what I'm talking about? Sorry, it was a little bit of an entrapment on my part, dude. I'm not trying to be a dick, but, like, once again, how do you know? You know how much. Oh yeah, because we have some all-knowing guru, the master of financial planning, that knows how much it's going to take, to get back to the moon, extrapolating costs from a 50-year-old space program. Like, give me a break. Two things I would mention. The over budget is due to delays in general operational costs that come with those delays, not actual strict development. Also, can we actually include Orion's first 6 years of development and append that to SLS? Completely different program and architecture it was designed for, that just tacked on to the SLS vehicle. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. And Rocket, what else are you saying? With respect to a truly good project management perspective, you try up front to give as good of an estimate on project cost and length. But really, at least yearly, this budget and plan should be revised as more information comes into light. Ideally, you do this every quarter within a project. So yeah, hard to tout a project budget estimate from 2012. That's exactly what I mean. You don't know how much it's going to cost, and that has to evolve over time. You're right. Yeah, I mean, saying evolve over time is the other component that I'm missing. I understand what you're saying, though. NASA OIG released a 56-page report about cost overruns. Well, the OIG just sees what the projected cost is, and then, they try to figure out why it's gone up over, but you're not addressing the root cause. And this is the cycle that I'm trying to buck with the words that I speak, right? Because obviously there's people that love SpaceX and want to just do SpaceX stuff, and that's fine. And then there's people that love Artemis and want to just do Artemis stuff, right? And obviously we see them at each other's throats. You shouldn't be. And I'm not saying you have to be Team Space either. It's all that's doing is giving fodder for people that are critics of space. We fight with each other. Space fans fight with each other about this stuff. And all that's doing is giving the people who don't like space, you're giving them fodder for canceling the program. You see what I'm saying? That's what happened with Constellation. You got to be careful about that stuff, dude. And even now, it just gets thrown around like it's no big deal. See, you just throw around like it's no big deal. You know how much that hurts? Like people use this, there's congressional testimony that cites news sources all the time saying. Anyway, President Elon in recent months have relegated potential missions to NASA's core space exploration target, with long-term moon bases functioning as a proving ground of far-off Mars missions. But with Musk's roughly $250 million support for Trump and his influential new role in the White House, talk of prioritizing new, more difficult missions to the Red Planet has threatened to upend an agency that since Trump's first term has reoriented its structure and roughly $25 billion annual budget to focus on the moon. Yeah, okay, cool. We already got that far. Jeff Bezos, whose space company Blue Origin has a multi-billion-dollar contract with NASA to land humans on the moon after Starship, told Reuters in January that the Trump administration should stay on course with the moon program. Jim Free, who had previously led NASA's Moon to Mars Strategy Office, was named by Joe Biden's NASA Administrator Bill Nelson as his acting replacement before Trump took office last month, per NASA tradition for several past presidential transitions. But the Trump administration quickly sidelined Free and put Janet Petro, who is the director of Kennedy Space Center, in the acting role, a move seen by many officials in the agency as an attempt to prevent Free from potentially shielding the moon program from future changes. Yev?
My name is Jeff.
My name Yev? Petro said hundreds of NASA employees have accepted buyout offers from the current presidential administration. The shakeups and looming strategic shift at NASA heap more uncertainty for the agency's almost 18,000 employees who have been whipsawed this month between shifting expectations of indiscriminate layoffs. NASA employees expected senior leadership to fire roughly 1,000 new employees with probationary status on Tuesday, pursuant to a presidential administration order. But by Tuesday night, following pushback from scientists and staff, Petro told senior officials NASA would be exempt from the order, at least temporary, according to two people familiar with that matter. There's that familiar guy again. Trump's nominee for NASA administrator, private astronaut and billionaire entrepreneur Jared Isaacman is in Washington this week to prepare for his confirmation hearing at the U.S. Senate. Joey pulling out the big words. Yes, indubitably. Constantinople. Timbuktu. Prerogative. Heavy. There's that word again, heavy. Why are things so heavy in the future? Is there a problem with the Earth's gravitational pull? You got to visit Michoud on Monday. Got cleared to take these pictures, so no worries. I'm 95% sure you wouldn't have any idea what's in the pictures. Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah? Nice. Yeah, I don't know what that is. I see you're quite familiar with big words. Vulcan barrel segment? Too big. Too big. Looks like a module of some kind. It does, doesn't it? Think more. Starship interior, HLS mock-up. It's the wrong direction for the HLS mock-up, dudes. SLS engine section? Nope. Dragon XL? Unlikely. The EUS Skylab Gateway Module? Some good guesses. Well, let's narrow it down. That's a super heavy core diameter, so that could only be a certain amount of rockets. It's either for SLS or it's for Starship. The problem is that it's the wrong orientation for Starship, so it's got to be something SLS oriented. Also, we're at Michoud. Something to think about. Now, let's take a look. It's Spaceball 1. They've gone to plaid. Go below. More hints. Thought it was a new broadcast platform. Look at the computer screen text. The lower deck is flipped to provide easy access to storage along the cylinder. It's a cylinder. Stringers. Baron, what are they doing with this Saturn V barrel segment here? That's very curious. Nah, not Saturn V. You sure about that? Scott. Well, that's definitely aluminum, and it's got an internal stringer structure, and it's definitely not stir welded. They look like tracks for drop-in modules. Now, this stuff, those are ISS racks. These things are ISS racks. Those are all over the International Space Station. That is their, think of it like a shipping container, but for smaller experiments and stuff. There's a lot of extruded aluminum everywhere. Flip, what's up, man? You're kind of close, but way off at the same time. It's a Saturn V barrel segment. I know that because the weld is not nearly good enough for a modern rocket, meaning this is a piece of old hardware. I don't know what it's for. It's being used for some kind of space station test mock-up. It was part of a shuttle external tank in a wet workshop plan for habitats still intact and being tested. It was part of the shuttle external tank? It's a lab, boss. No, I understand that, Tessa. I never said it wasn't. Sirius, it definitely sounds like that. You're not wrong. It's a cylinder. Early ETs were constructed very differently. Well, okay. I knew this thing was old, Bill. It's old. It's very old. It's been around for a long time. So it's not something... You know, I said it could be SLS, could be Starship, but then I started noticing stuff. Okay, so these processing rings are old. They're dirt old. Also, look at the plate right there. Look at all the scratches. Look at all the corrosion. It's been there for a while. So then I started looking at the welds. It's not stir welded. If it's not stir welded, that means it's at least 40 years old. Okay? Rockets are stir welded nowadays, dude. So this is what gave it away. That it's not SLS, it's not anything. Look at the weld. It's a bead weld. It's a TIG, that's a TIG weld. See that? See how you have a bead? That's a TIG weld. They stopped doing that in the 80s. NASA stopped doing that in the 80s because they opt for a stir weld. Right? And that's actually a pretty frigging damn good... It's a pretty damn good TIG weld, but I digest. So, that would mean this has to be a Saturn V barrel or external tank. Yeah, it's hard to tell. But, you know, internal stringers... Yeah, the internal stringers probably... Yeah, that pretty much gave it away. Now, I understand, like, oh yeah, wet workshop and stuff. Dude, why haven't we thrown this thing out, like, a long time ago? I actually got here to see how long before he went gaming. Then my Discord group notified me about HSR. Anyway, Baron, that's pretty neat. Pretty cool, man. Yeah, see, these are all old ISS, or they could be even Space Lab components. Those things haven't been used in a while, but they are spaceflight spec. But it's cool, you know, that something like this exists. Shows what you could do with wet workshops. Scott. Or Mark. Could be either one. That's the avionics test bay right there for SLS. I think, yeah, that's for the core stage. That's core stage avionics. Could be the case that it's been dug out of storage to be modernized for a modern prototype. Perhaps. Doesn't that hatch on the screen look like a dragon forward hatch but square? The square hole. It's Orion. The windows are a dead giveaway. Could be Starliner too, but I doubt it. Anyway, cool pictures, dude. Yeah, so, okay, Jim Free stepped down. It sounds like, I mean, the plywood looks new, I guess. Did you see part of a rocket hit Poland? Yeah, Poland mentioned. Yank some ash. Yes, start this Falcon 9 Starlink 11-4 second stage re-entered over Poland. Some parts did make it down to the ground. No, it's not okay. SpaceX needs to stop doing that immediately. Sun Temple, that's my guess. That sounds like Jim Free is not a fan of the president. That's what that sounds like. And I think very much that so you could really look at this situation kind of two ways. All right. Jim Free was supposed to be the acting administrator, right? That's usually what happens. You know, the main NASA administrator steps down because he serves at the behest of the president. Bill Nelson was there because of Joe Biden. Straight up. Joe Biden isn't in office anymore. I don't think anybody needed that news flash, but just in case you're living under a rock. Joe Biden's not in office anymore, so Bill Nelson left. That would make Jim Free the acting administrator, right? Because he was basically second in charge. And Pam Melroy stepped down as well. So Jim was third in charge, so Bill Nelson and Pam Melroy left. And they put Jim Free in charge as acting administrator. Now, here's the thing, guys. Like, some people could look at this and be like, oh, Jim Free's leaving. We're so screwed. We're so screwed. I don't think so. I don't think so. Look, if Jim Free is taking an interim acting administrator role, if he was going to take that role, he's going to be part of the transition team and then leave. That's usually people that usually take the acting administrator role at NASA usually leave. So he was planning to retire anyway. I'm pretty damn sure. But this could have gone two ways. He was either going to take the acting administrator role, do what he had to do, you know, kind of make sure that SLS was in good hands, and then leave. Right? Maybe somebody didn't want that. I don't know who. Maybe somebody didn't want that. If that's the case, I mean, somebody clearly didn't, so they put Janet Petro in, right? And if Jim's like, all right, I'm not acting administrator, I guess, bye. Pretty much, I mean, that's pretty much, I mean, I don't know, I kept saying there's one of two ways. Now, I'm pretty sure that's how that panned out. It's good that these people are leaving. You think so, Hellfish? Did you see Berger's comment on the Joey article? I did not. I did not. It's not true. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark. What's Eric saying? Let's see. Boop. Yes, stale leadership is part of the problem that NASA has seen. You've heard this as well, but nice to have confirmation. Jim Free was brought into NASA to protect the old guard, and did so. Supersonic petro propulsion. Where are you going to be for the next Starship launch? Streaming? I most likely am going to be down at Starbase again, dude. Doing like space news streams from there and then NSF cast. Yeah. Oh, the old guard is not protected now. Yeah, B-Pat, that's most likely what's going to happen. I'm probably going to fly down to Starbase again. Space news from a beach chair in front of the pad. That, Lowe's, that's not as far-fetched of an idea as you might think. Awesome, sounds amazing. It's in 4 days, right? Unlikely. It's probably going to be sometime in March, dude. How far up the beach do you need to go? I would not be on the beach when this rocket goes off. I would be at least 5 miles away. And I'm the one that generally wants to get closer to rockets. Dude, I was 6 miles away on South Padre Island, and this thing shook the building. Like, the building's shaking. Look at that rocket go! Like, I wouldn't be near this thing when it goes off. The only place I'd want to be near to this thing when it goes off is on the top of it. You know what I mean? Dude, Starship is a different kind of violent when it comes to rockets taking off, dude. Hey, Sean, as much as I love NASA, I hear a lot of stories of people just sitting around getting paid to scroll on their phones. Yeah, okay, so let's talk about that. RE, the old guard at NASA versus new. Like, guys, Sean, you're not the only one that says that, that's told me this. I've talked to people at NASA. I've talked to people that work at NASA. I've heard stories about people that work at NASA. It seems like there is a lot of people at NASA that are there for a paycheck. And that's it. They're there for a paycheck. And you know what? First and foremost, look, man, I would love to have a cushy job to get paid a ton and do nothing. Yak! Yaks. All right. I would love to do that, but also it's NASA. Okay? I've heard a lot of stories about that. And that's what I think Eric Berger's talking about when he says he's protecting the old guard. There seem to be a lot of people that are just kind of resting on their laurels, right? And once again, I'm not trying to make this about age. I'm not trying to make it about anything. Competency speaks volumes here. Like, it's definitely not about age, because there are people at NASA, albeit ones that work at SpaceX now, that are older than Jim Free that still do an amazing job, like Bill Gerstenmaier or Kathy Leaders. Pick one. Right? Now, once again, I understand collecting a paycheck, dude. To some people, it's just a job. It's just a job, and that's fine, I guess. But as a spaceflight fan, that really pisses me off. That I can't lie about that. It pisses me off. How can you be a status quo person at NASA? What the hell's the matter with you? What are you doing? What are you doing? You don't belong here. You don't belong. You don't, amigo. You don't belong. Get out. Like, it's... What would you say you do here? Kathy Leaders is at SpaceX now. You got to meet her. Yeah, I know, Sean. That was the point. I said that. You can't fire me. I've got tenure. And it sucks. It sucks to see that, Tessa. You know? And I talked to you guys. We were just talking about it with Joey's article, you know, about SLS being over budget, blah, 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 blah. Like, it costs what it costs, dudes. But I'm not even me. I'm not going to sit here and say, like, you know, NASA is not full of people that are just there to collect a paycheck. that are left over from programs past, like the shuttle program, right? Or whatever. I mean, personally, I think the vast majority of those people got fired, but it's very clear that there's still people around like that. And don't get me wrong, like, once again, I'm trying not to be a jerk, because you should, if people are still competent and good at what they do, right, age shouldn't matter, right? Like, that means nothing, right? But also at the same time, if you don't want to be on the cutting edge and you work at NASA, you need to leave. Like, I don't have a better way of saying that. Like, am I coming off like a prick? Yeah, absolutely. It's NASA. Piss off. Go find something else. You can find a cushy job somewhere else. That, like, there's plenty of cushy jobs out there, you know? Oh, you have more pictures, Baron. That, tell you what, that engine, that's a pretty good motor. You know, like, you know, you can, you know, if people want to sit here, and if you're part of that old guard, and you're looking at me, and you think I'm a piece of trash, I was about to say something else. Think I'm a piece of trash for saying that? You're probably right. But also at the same time, sitting there and doing nothing isn't going to get us any closer to the moon. And you have to understand that NASA is such a coveted organization because of past endeavors where people did not do this, right? NASA's gotten a reputation for being incredibly slow, status quo, afraid to take risks, etc., etc. Now, once again, I truly think the solution to this problem is give them a bold plan. Age doesn't mean anything. But these people are sitting there doing nothing because the program is the way the whole thing is intertwined is designed to basically be sustainable, and that's about it. Like, once again, you know, I don't necessarily mind, and far from me to say this, I don't necessarily mind that, you know, they clean up shop. NASA, like, I've been saying that NASA needs to refactor their contracts. That's basically what that would include. You want people in there. You want people in there that want to be there. You know? I've heard many stories, albeit, like, this is kind of anecdotal on my part, and I don't mean to report this as space news, right? But I've heard many stories where people talk to people that work at NASA and are there as a NASA internship, and, you know, people that are younger ask people that already work at NASA, the older people, hey, I would like to work here. What do I need to do that? And people at NASA saying, no, you don't want to work here. No, there are better opportunities for you in the private sector. I've heard this multiple times from multiple people that do work in the private sector now, but asking people to do fair work for fair pay is not unreasonable. Evaluating if that is happening is also reasonable, as long as it's data driven. Yep. Yeah, the fact that NASA is turned into kind of a space retirement home, right? It just pisses me off. That it's such a far cry from the Apollo program. It's very obnoxious, and I don't like it. Seems like a terrible culture, and a gaggle of people are just riding out pension eligibility. Yes, exactly. But you can't blame these people, Rocket Drone, either. Like, here's the thing: if people are just there to collect a paycheck, they need to leave. You need to leave. However, it's not to say that these people are saying, like, oh, go find a job in the private sector, you'll have better opportunity there. There is a reason why people say that. The reason why people say that is because NASA's treading water. They're going nowhere. Why are they going nowhere? No plan. You don't have the urgency that you know, that put people on the moon, right? You don't have it. It's not there. Even that urgency was there during the shuttle program, at least the beginning parts before Challenger, right? It's like, we got to get this done. We got to get this done. We got to get this done. And this all goes back to what I was saying. Like, NASA needs a plan. You got to have a plan. It's not maybe we'll go back to the moon or maybe we'll do this and maybe we'll do that. No. Artemis is fine. It's okay. Like, I don't mind the program overall, but there's, look at what happened with Artemis 2. Look what happened with Artemis. Artemis 1 was way behind schedule. When did it launch? 2022? It was supposed to launch in 2017. 5 years behind schedule. Right? Once again, feeding into my theory that SLS is not expensive. It's late. And that's fair criticism. But my question is like, or not question, what I'm trying to tell you is that these people didn't say this. These people aren't saying this because they don't want new people to work at NASA, because they just want to collect their pension and collect a paycheck and be out. You don't go looking for a job at NASA, right? And not like love space. And frankly, like, I'll be quite brutally honest here. If you do, well, one, yeah, you will have better opportunity in the private sector. You probably get paid way more to do way less work. But also at the same time, if you're just there to collect a paycheck, get out. Get out. Get out. This type of mentality and this type of behavior is threatening NASA to the point where NASA could fade into irrelevancy. And that's not okay. It's not okay. Like, I'm sorry. I don't like being a jerk like this. I don't like being candid like that. But also at the same time, I keep thinking in the back of my mind that National Science Foundation paper that we read that said the mean age at NASA is like 58. And NASA's going through a brain drain. NASA's going through a brain drain because kids don't want to work at NASA. They want to work at SpaceX. They want to work at Blue. They want to work in the private sector, wherever. They want to do anything but work at NASA. Why? NASA isn't on the cutting edge anymore. SpaceX is arguably doing crazier things. This is the kind of stuff that NASA should be doing right here. This stuff. Right there. They should be doing that. And this brain drain is eventually going and not attracting new young talent and not attracting new engineers, right? Is basically going to turn NASA inadvertently over time into a regulatory body. The National Science Foundation wrote a whole paper about this. And they wrote a paper well after I've been said, like, it came out like last year. I've been saying this for years. Right? All right, Sun Temple. Good night. There's no, yeah, it's anonymous. It seems like people are resting on their laurels, and that's not something you can do at NASA. You cannot be like this. NASA, I really hope people don't take what I'm about to say out of context, but it's the internet and it's probably going to happen. With that being said, people already do that with me anyway, so I'm just going to say it. NASA needs to be run more like SpaceX. You have to have a goal. And it's not just maybe we'll go to the moon. You have to have a goal, and you have to have a sense of urgency. There's no urgency. There's nothing. There's nothing. And that comes all the way from the top. And all these people leaving, Jim Free leaving, a bunch of people at Marshall leaving, it seems like bad news, but also at the same time, it might not be. NASA is too top heavy. They're too top heavy. There's too many managers and not enough engineers. Most of the shuttle era was that way. Baron, you collaborate with engineers who work at NASA. I've observed that while many younger engineers in their mid to late 20s are highly motivated and dedicated, some of the more senior engineers, typically in their 40s to mid 60s, often seem less driven to complete tasks with maximum efficiency. For example, when I provide schematics, I frequently receive requests for rewritten manuals causing unnecessary delays. Really, I don't know if that's a sustainable solution. Baron, what are you saying? In one instance, a testing cycle for a component was originally scheduled to take 5 days, with a critical design review planned for the 6th day to sign off on the part. However, due to inefficiencies and prolonged back and forth communication, totaling nearly 150 emails, the timeline was extended to 3 weeks. Ultimately, we had to take over monitoring the test ourselves as the engineers assigned by NASA continued to delay by retasking the test to others in their pool. It was pain. Yeah, Baron, people like that need to leave. They need to leave. You leave. Just retire. Here, take your pension. Get out. Get the frick out. Get the frick out. I'm sick of, like, you know, you go back 3 or 4 years ago, I'd be willing to give them the benefit of the doubt, but the writing's on the wall right now. The writing's on the wall right now. Everybody knows that, whether you like it or not, that the presidential branch is going to put NASA under a magnifying glass. The executive branch is going to put it under a magnifying glass, and people are jumping ship. It's kind of telling. But once again, in the context of Jim, I think he was going to retire anyway. But, you know, all those other people at Marshall stepping down. You know, maybe they're close to retirement. Maybe they're just going to retire. Probably. That's probably what's going to happen. But also, I can't help but think in the back of my mind that maybe this might be like, oh crap, I might actually have to do something now. Bye. No, I don't like jokes, Finn. Be quiet. Shh. Sorry, like I've been saying, I'd like to think that Jared's more focused, business-oriented mindset could be good for NASA. NASA needs to be run more like a business. And Rocket Guy, I hope people won't take what I say out of context. When I say NASA needs to be run more like a business, I don't mean we need a SpaceX clone. I mean NASA has to have some freaking urgency, dude. It's been 15 freaking years since the last shuttle flight, and NASA has launched 2 missions in-house since then. And EFT-1 arguably was a contracted service. Not okay. That's not okay. No matter how you cut it, it's not okay. It's not okay. Like, and you know, like, once again, I was willing to give people the benefit of the doubt, but it very much seems like people are there just to collect a paycheck at this point. And I can't help but think that, like, I really hope that I'm wrong. But once again, I'll say it once, I'll say it again. If you're NASA and you're there to collect a paycheck, you need to leave. You need to leave now. Like, get out. But that seems to be what they're doing anyway. Bill, what are you saying? Sorry this is late, but with regards to the budget discussion earlier, a while ago I compiled some graphs showing the Apollo versus Artemis budgets using the best data I could find and adjusted them to modern 2024 dollars. Would you be interested in me posting a link? You could open them in an off-screen tab if you want to check them out first. Yeah, sure, get link perms from a mod, dude. I'm in. Run like a business to extent. Like, dude, it's not even run it like a business. Just have some freaking accountability.
Oh, this is space. I'm in space.
Thanks, Rocket Guy. Yeah, post it up. Generation-wise retirement cycles are inevitable. Hold Japan in stagnation because of it. Yeah, Joe, that's the flip side of it, dude. And that's why I'm trying not to say that this is about being old. It's not about being old. Old people can still do work. You got the experience there. Like, I'm saying, like, you can't, no matter what your age, you can't work at a place like NASA and just rest on your laurels and just be like, yeah, everything's good, everything's fine. No. The sense of urgency in getting stuff done and pushing the forefront of technology and space exploration requires a sense of urgency. You have to have some accountability. There has to be some accountability. I'm sorry, like, once again, 5 years ago, I would have said, nah, man, let them do their thing. Let them cook. But you get to this point, like, what the heck are you people doing? Like, I can't help but think it, man. It's just been kind of creeping up on me in the back of my mind for a long time now. Well, not for a long time, for some time now. Phil, to add something too, once the Roman Space Telescope launches, it'll be the first time in a long time that the high bays at Goddard sit empty, with no future programs to fill them. With everything moving to commercial, I don't know what will happen to these facilities. Could be another reason the young don't want to work there. Deadbringer, take their own pension, or should NASA give them an early pension? They might have done 20 to 40 years of useful stuff. I'd say pay out. That's what I would do, Deadbringer. And I know that kind of echoes what the guy in the White House is doing. don't, please don't associate with me with him on here. Please don't do that. You know, hey, if you want to leave, leave. You don't want to be at the forefront of space flight, we got to start holding people accountable again. Stuff needs to start getting done again. All right? You don't want to be here, leave. We'll pay you. We'll pay out your retirement, no problem. Like you'd work, like we'll pay you like you got to 65. Leave. You can't have people like that in a space program, man. You just can't. Yeah, Paul, we left them to cook. And dude, I was the biggest like advocate of giving NASA the benefit of the doubt, right? But it seems like at this point, you know, people are, I mean, maybe they're just so far out that they don't care. Like, I don't know. NASA's become so risk adverse. Yeah, of course. You're afraid to take risks. They're afraid to do anything, and that's paralyzing everything. I don't mean to be explicitly unsafe balance here, but the bureaucracy relies upon not taking any risks. So Tesla Max, I don't think you're wrong, right? But hear me out. Hear me out here. The bureaucracy relies upon not taking any risk. So what's the Apollo program? The Apollo program had a crazy amount of risk to the point where we lost 3 astronauts because of it. Crazy amount of risk, right? Oh yeah, big deal. Very big deal. The bureaucracy kept it somewhat in check, and thankfully we only lost 3 astronauts from it. Right? But now we're out of that's where the, you know, Congress and the bureaucratic process was balanced with NASA, and there was acceptable risk, right? Because the sense of urgency may have tipped the scales in favor of being less or more risk adverse, but hey, whatever. Or less risk adverse. Like you're willing to send it, right? Now, I think over time, because you know how I've often talked about how NASA is like every time, basically since the space shuttle, all NASA's been kind of just petering, right? They've been just petering, and every time somebody comes along with a better solution, NASA gets the shaft, and it gets reduced, and it just gets more, you don't need as many engineers, and just the, you know, management stays there. So the bureaucratic process has invaded NASA to the point where it's tipping too far in the way of bureaucracy, which kind of explains that there's too many, I mean, that kind of basically, you know, once again, I could be connecting too many dots that aren't there, but this kind of basically explains why people are jumping ship right now. Because what would you say you do here? NASA has way too much bureaucracy and paperwork. There's no real way to implement an ERP system because every little thing needs approval from multiple engineers. And if a project involves multiple NASA centers, all of them have to sign off on it too. Take something as example as changing a supplier for material. First, we have to inform NASA and send them a full breakdown of the supplier and material specs. Then we wait for their approval. And if it's a multi-center project, you might as well put your work on hold for the next 5 weeks. The only division that seems to run efficiently right now is the commercial crew program. Honestly, I don't envy Jared's job at all. Wolfpack, in many businesses you've consulted for, there's often a portion of the employee base that are cheaper just let sit there and get a paycheck than it costs to fire them. Your options are take that cost and see if you can operate without them producing anything, usually the case, and eat that cost, or you buy them out and make that same decision. You can fire them, but that has other associated costs and HR issues get in the way. It's a struggle to get it right in the private sector. Interesting. I don't know, man. It's, you know, contracts need to be refactored, and you got to clean up shop. Give me 1 second. I'm reading this thread real quick. Like, I don't mean to be a downer, but you got to clean house. NASA needs to get back to doing Apollo stuff. They tried to do it with Constellation. Too many cooks in the kitchen ruined that. Well, actually, too many congressmen in the kitchen. Let me put it that way. It's probably even worse. Let's see. I heard this as well. Free was brought in to NASA to protect the old guard and did so and oust Kathy leaders. Low move by NASA as what they did with Gerst, but it worked out with them. They have great, exciting jobs at SpaceX. Better pay, I'm sure. Kathy deserves a medal for the HLS selection and how she made the selection statement bulletproof. Saved Artemis. That's a good point. A note that I've never seen such a lopsided procurement for a NASA program. Best offer being half the price and 100 times the payload compared to the second. Any choice different from Starship would have been a gross misuse of taxpayer money. Yeah. How about you probably would have spent less money if they just built the stupid thing in-house with a comprehensive space program from the start. It's almost like we had a plan for that, and then somebody decided we didn't want to do that. Good conversation about HLS. Yeah. Anyway. Once again, guys, I just on a quick side note, I hate that every day I'm coming in here and it always devolves into a political discussion, at least on some superfluous level. I'm not trying to do that on purpose. That's really just all there is to talk about. Like, if you guys are sick of this, let me know. I really don't feel good doing it. I don't want to do it, but that seems to be what's going on. Like, all I can do is kind of prescribe what I think NASA needs and then go from there. You know? Yapping ignoramuses. Yeah, it's pretty good. "46 months to go." Nah, Dragon, I didn't mean it like that, but I can understand how people would have a countdown clock. I can understand that. That's the time we're in right now. Yep, we're just kind of in a holding pattern. Does this feel like right before Constellation cancellation? Yes and no. Yeah, Tesla, I hate it. I don't like... It's not my place to tell you about this stuff, but if it has to do with space, I gotta tell you, and I'm gonna tell you what I think. Like, and I don't mean to, it's not, I'm not trying to be a jerk, man. No. Is there a closer historical comparison? This happens to be the news cycle, I guess. I just went on Space News, the website. The first 3 articles are in my face, are all political. Yeah, it's hard to get around it, dude. Like, there's no getting around it. Right now, at least. Gamer Ike, when you start to undervalue, deprioritize engineers and focus on project cost cutting and public image, that's when the path is lost. Ike, exactly. That's exactly what I'm talking about. We talk about SLS budget overruns. You talk about ML mobile launcher overruns. We're talking about all this. It's very clear that NASA cares much more about the budget and not about doing anything about it. That's what I'm getting at. Because at the end of the day, who made these cost projections? How do you know how much it costs? Like, you could get a good idea. I would start with the Apollo program, and I would extrapolate it from there. But it very much seems like people are lowballing the projected cost of stuff on purpose to get stuff, to try in a feeble attempt to get stuff done. But you're basically dooming your project from the start if you lowball the price of your own damn project. Right? Like, you're just setting yourself up for failure at that point. All good. We're all going through this together. I just can't believe countries come to such a conclusion. Well, Kristen, here's the thing. King's asking me, does this remind me of Constellation? There are signs. There are signs, sure. NASA posting about all the progress that they're making constantly, like stacking the SLS boosters. Now that one I don't understand. Why are we stacking boosters for a rocket that's not going to fly for 12 months? It's a little strange, right? They did that with Ares 1X. They got Ares 1X working and launched it in an attempt to get to prevent Constellation from being canceled, right? Like they did it real quick. That's why the tumble motor in the PTI didn't work, because they rushed it. They were trying to show like, hey, we're trying to do. I mean, Constellation was going to have NASA try to go back to iterative testing, which is what Ares 1X is. Think of Ares 1X like Starhopper for the Constellation program. It's basically what it is, right? In work adjacent fields, I see it every day as an engineer. It's tough, but there's hope when refocusing occurs. Stagnant water is when things become frustrating. Yep. Lowballing stuff is just called being an optimistic risk taker, something we reward when it works. Yeah, but it hasn't worked for 15 years. Or Saturn 1, sure. But in many ways, it does feel like Constellation. But, I mean, King... Oh, God, people are not going to want to hear this. I'm sorry, guys. I don't mean to do this. I really don't. I'm just trying to have a conversation about stuff, all right? Please don't bark up my case. I have no axe to grind. It is important for me to stay completely neutral. I feel like I have to say this every stream. Do not get the wrong idea here. I'm just trying to tell people what's going on as best as I can extrapolate. With that being said, King, it kind of feels like Constellation, but the one big difference here is Elon. That's the game. That's the difference. Oh, geez, Titan dogs. Rigby. Yeah, Rigby. You know, I don't like politics, but you know, Richard is great, but you know, Rigby. Awesome show. One of my favorite shows, Doctors. The one kind of variable here is Elon. You know, because if the president was going around saying, "Oh, we're gonna fix this, we're gonna fix this, we're gonna fix this," and Elon wasn't in his ear, I'd be like, "Oh crap, oh balls, we are screwed. It's so over." But with Elon there, we could potentially very much be back. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the one variable. And I don't know. I don't know what's going on. We're not going to know until at least Rook's confirmation hearing. Like, well, that terrifies you. What do you mean? Why would that terrify you? Having Elon there means that somebody who's very intimately familiar with spaceflight is essentially whispering into the president's ear. Now, look, King, and this is what I mean. Like, I get it. People don't like what he's saying. People don't like what the president's saying. Some people really don't like what they're doing. I get it. I get it. It's very uncertain. It's scary. I understand. With that being said, in the context of spaceflight and spaceflight policy, that's not a bad thing, dude. Sorry, it's not. Now, you can't elaborate without ruling. I know what you're going to say based off of what you just said. I get it. I understand, right? Like, yeah, Rarest, I'm trying, man. I'm trying to go through the minefield without pissing anybody off. Like, it's important for me to stay neutral in this. Like, I just have to tell it like it is. Best I could say is a conflict of interest. Yeah, I understand that, but well, first and foremost, dude, I don't think that Elon can whisper in the president's ear, but Elon can't audit NASA. He can't do that. Yeah, because he has like billions of dollars of contracts with NASA. What is that, man? Like, He can't. There's a huge conflict of interest there. Congress won't let him do that. And I know what people are going to say. I don't trust it. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. What will you say when he does? I don't know. But guys, let me tell you. I'll say it once, I'll say it again. Gutting NASA is not the solution. That's not a solution. That's not a solution to your problems here. You know, Elon and the president are running on a ticket of fixing everything. We're going to fix this. We're going to fix this. We're going to eliminate waste. We're going to fix things. We're going to fix things. Gutting NASA, canceling these programs, that's not a solution. That's not fixing anything. And, you know, if Elon doesn't know it, I know Rook knows this. He definitely does. He's very well versed in spaceflight history. You just listen to his interviews. He knows what's going on. Like, I have to give at least Rook the benefit of the doubt. I know he knows what's up. You know? So we'll see. About NASA, subsidiary of SpaceX. Yeah, no, like, if that happens, that's not going to be great. Like, does NASA getting rid of slackers equate to gutting NASA? No. Phil, well, okay, let me put it to you like this. If you want to gut NASA and you want to get rid of the people that, you know, are just there to collect a paycheck, the people that don't have the drive, like, that are just there because it's a job, if you want to do that, I don't have a problem with it. Only if you have a plan. Only. Because getting rid of people with no solution and no plan there is just exacerbating the problem, the exact problem with NASA that you were trying to address in the first place. That's all. My last hope is that Rook will hold off Elon and Trump Congress from gutting NASA. That's a lot more subtleties to this than just that. I agree it's not a solution to our problems. It's a solution to theirs. Look what they're doing to every other agency. It's not making things better. It's about making themselves richer, full stop. I can't say whether you're wrong or right. Like, I don't know, man. All I can speak to is spaceflight policy. I don't understand how the richest guy in the world is going to get even richer by getting into politics. That makes no sense. To me, at least, from a spaceflight perspective, there could be other ways. There probably is. Clearly, a lot of people do get rich out of a field that you shouldn't be getting rich out of. But I don't know, dude. And I don't know what you want me to say to this. Yeah, Julie, I'm kind of over it. No, but what are you saying? Do you think do you think the Trump administration, yeah, dare I say his name, along with Rook and Musk, wants to get NASA back to what it was doing with the Apollo program? I very much do, yes. Repost again, sorry. Appreciate you trying to be objective, but how does saying NASA will be okay because Elon is there square with saying Elon won't be involved in spaceflight decision-making a little while ago? I don't see how both can be true. Elon's there and he can advise, but he can't really do anything. He can't be part of that process. But having somebody that's a huge spaceflight pundit, like 1 degree of separation away from the president, isn't a bad thing, Dino. However, right, that's not a bad thing. That's just, you know, what he can say off the record to the president, right? That's what I mean by that. The flip side of this, dude, is that because of the conflict of interest and this little thing called Congress, you can't. He can't do it. Even if he could, even if it wasn't a conflict of interest and, you know, they allowed him to go with that stuff. The Congress is what signs the bills for NASA. you don't get Congress to work with you, you're kind of boned. Like, that's what I mean. It's good that Elon's there for multiple reasons. Having somebody that knows a lot about space and getting a president to prioritize spaceflight is a good thing. But also at the same time, and this is in the context of like government efficiency and stuff like that, also at the same time, Elon can't get near NASA. He has too many contracts there. Now, whether he does or doesn't do that, I don't know. But I agree with what Nova said. I think because Rook and Elon and everybody else is so dang familiar with spaceflight and they understand it better than most. I think that they're going to try to fix things. And NASA's in a very weird spot right now, guys. But, and you tell me if I'm nuts. The way I'm looking at this, and I try to err on the side of optimism. I know that's hard to do nowadays. That's tough. I get it. Right, the way I look at this, right, is that we're in a very interesting position. The position is like we have good hardware. You saw at the beginning of the space news, I showed you the RS-25s. I showed you the SRBs being stacked. The production chains for SLS are already there. We have good hardware. The procurement for it sucks, right? That's the problem. Procurement and too much middle management, apparently. I mean, but they're all jumping ship anyway, so whatever. You might not have to worry about that. Now, with that all being said, right? With that all being said, you also have SpaceX basically hell-bent on getting to Mars. Okay? So, I could go into detail. I could give you an Alex-style explanation of what's going on here. The long story short, if NASA and the president play their cards right, you could have a nice, healthy, and robust moon program and a nice, healthy, and robust Mars program if you do this correctly. And that's why that is the reason why I say championing SLS and expanding it is a good idea. Let NASA go to the moon. Let NASA learn how to do stuff on the moon. And then use what they learned to put all that tech in a Starship and send it that way. You get two spaceflight architectures going to two different celestial bodies for not for the price of one. Let's say for the price of 1.5. Right? That's what I mean. NASA's in a very unique position where we could really have an Apollo program coexisting with what SpaceX is doing. And look, if an idiot like me can figure this out, there's no way they don't know this. You want an Alex answer? Get KMR to start the timer. Yeah, Nova, that's right. Going to Mars with NASA's $25 billion a year budget is kind of hard, though, unless they defund most other projects. You don't have to, because SpaceX is going to do it anyway, floating. That's what I mean. You know, like, okay, everybody says, okay, let me give you an example. Everybody says, cancel SLS, and let's go off the notion, which is not how this works. Let's go off the notion that if SLS is like $9 billion a year or something ridiculous, right? Let's say exploration systems development is like $10 billion a year. Let's say that. I don't know what it is off the top of my head. It's somewhere up there, right? It's a pretty big chunk of NASA's budget, right? Say they could just take that money and just give it all to SpaceX, right? To work, send Starship to the moon, send Starship to Mars, we'll just use Starship for everything. Starship. Say you could do that, which you can't. Like, that's a gross, that is a gross circumvention of the entire system. It's not even like, oh, you might do this because the efficient, no, that's, the likelihood of that happening is extremely low. Hope I don't eat my words. Okay? All right? Say that happens. What is a $10 billion infusion going to do with SpaceX? Going to do for SpaceX? What is that going to do at this point? That's not going to make Starship go any faster. It might make it go faster in the future, right? And I'm not saying it wouldn't help either. the point that I'm getting at is that Starship is already on a pretty damn good trajectory. SpaceX is doing it. You don't need that. Right? You're in a position where if you refactor SLS and you get that thing working really, really nice, really, get it working nice, 4 launches a year. We talked about that many times, right? And develop some really good architecture based off of it, right? You really, really, dude, we could have 2 space programs because SpaceX is already going to Mars. You could have NASA people on Mars and NASA people on the moon for basically the same amount of money that you're spending right now. Like, why wouldn't you do that? Right? Do you see what I'm talking about? We're in a unique position where we could just do both of those things. You'd be stupid not to. Like, this is an easy W. Yeah, exactly, Will. Yeah, do we want to set a precedent where commercial is the norm for space exploration? I don't think that's a good idea, but once again, at least with the way that I said, NASA has some say and some contracts with, going to Mars, right? Kate, sorry to repost, and this may be an ignorant question, but why is Artemis 2 still more than a year away if they finish stacking the SRBs? Long story short, Orion's heat shield doesn't work right. Yeah, Orion's heat shield didn't work right after Artemis 1 because they redesigned it for Artemis 1 based off of... Kate. Okay. Give me 1 second. I want to see what Faniel said here. That's a little bit of a long answer. Give me a moment. Faniel, don't overlook the president's motivation to expand into space. The search for alternative sources for rare earth metals. Even if the sourcing is more expensive to obtain, just having a secondary source of rare earth metals takes away near peer adversaries' trade advantage of being a single source for rare earth metals. That's why Greenland is a big conversation. Space is the only logical expansion to obtain a secondary source for rare earth metals. I mean, I bet you that's a component to it, sure. Anyway, I've heard you do the heat shield explanation before with the Apollo redesign manufacturing and such, but my understanding was that they solved for it now. They haven't figured it out yet, Kate. No. Their solution, the Artemis 2 Orion is going to fly with the exact heat shield that basically delaminated or charred is the name. Artemis 2 with people on board is going to fly. It's the same design as the one that broke up during Artemis 1. They're going to fly that with people on board on a modified trajectory that they think won't char the heat shield. Yeah, Bob, I think, once again, I don't think it's time I don't think it's over yet. You know what I mean? I don't think it's time to say we're so over. Now, I think I'm trying to look at this as objectively as I possibly can. I think that Rook is going to fix things. I think he's going to fix things, and he's going to whip the Artemis program into shape. I really think that's what's going to happen. Kate, does that make sense? In the conference, they explicitly said the new entry trajectory for Artemis 2 was ready, and they said that the long lead item at this point was life support systems, not the heat shield. don't remember that part. I took notes too. Bill, I don't know. If you could get me a timestamp on that, I'd really appreciate it, because that's not what I heard from that press conference, but all right. It's just an O-ring. I don't really care. To you? Yeah, Boone. Once again, it sets up a just garbage precedent. I've seen some articles about the Russians creating a plasma engine that could get us to Mars in a third of the time. Do you know if there's any legitimacy to that? Yeah, Boritic. The ideas for, you know, a plasma engine, yeah, we can make them. I can make a turbojet engine out of a turbocharger and a combustor from a propane heater, right? Does that mean I'm going to put it on an airplane and fly it? You know, there's a prototype, there's a theoretical prototype that you can make, and then there's actually putting it on a rocket, which Russia is nowhere near doing. Sorry. Yes, Rook understands spaceflight. He might try to fix things, but I can't help but see they will do it in a way that benefits them and makes them richer. What? Guys, what the kind of news have you been watching? Holy, this is ridiculous. What? Okay, all right. What the hell about spaceflight is profitable? What are you talking? Like, SpaceX has Starlink. That's right. How are you gonna get? What are you gonna get more rich off of Starlink? Where are people pulling this out of? That might be a thing with other political stuff, but I don't know shit about that, dude. I don't know. With spaceflight, though, no, that's not how that works at all. What are you talking about? Why do people keep saying that? Oh, it's just gonna make them rich. Dude, you don't get into spaceflight to get rich. All right, you don't do that. Like, it's not the first time I've heard it spoiled. Like, dude, you don't. I gotta time myself out. I swore. Like, dude, I can't. Maybe with other stuff, you're probably right, but why are we taking that other stuff and applying to space flight? Come on, think clearly for a second. No one gets into space exploration to make money. I gotta time myself out. Okay, cool. Give me 1 second, dudes. Like, guys, I don't know. I can't speak to other things. Like, I really can't. I can't speak to politics. I have no freaking clue, dude. I don't. And even if I did, I wouldn't tell you. It's like, why? So we could just be like everybody else that sits here and circle jerks about politics? You don't get into spaceflight to get rich, dudes. Like, I'm sorry. That's just not how it is. Fine. It's fine. Anyway, sorry. Like, it's just, guys, like, look. You're putting me in a really, really difficult spot. Like, I think we're done talking about this for a little while, okay? At least until Rick's confirmation, all right? Blood for the blood god. 1,000 bits. Thanks, man. I tell you what, I'm more excited for the advancement of space travel in the next decade than I was when the Undertaker threw mankind off the steel cage and King of the Ring. Nice, dude. Nice. $95-month resub. I always figured you call it Rule 8 because 8 sideways is an infinity symbol and it takes forever to deal with. No, it's just the 8th thing that I thought of when making my stream rules. Huh. You know? Finish talking about it until Friday. Give me 1 second, guys. Just gotta see something. All right, cool. Anyway, sorry. I'm trying to stay right in my lane with spaceflight. Like it's gotten tough. I don't know, but anyway. We gotta be, we gotta be optimistic about this stuff. We can't not be, like. Because you know why? Pessimism didn't get people to the moon. Cynicism didn't get people to the space station. You know what I mean? It's just not the right mentality for this crap. Not crap, but you get the idea. Like, it's just, like, we can't be like that, man. I understand people might have problems with Elon, people have problems with the president, problems with a lot of things. People have problems with a lot of that. I get it. Like, guys, I'm not trying to shoehorn stuff down your throats. I'm not trying to say, like, this is what's going to happen, or I think this is what's going to happen. I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to be neutral, and that's really, really tough. It's really hard. I'm trying to be optimistic and just kind of neutral. Like, there's good things and there's potentially bad things about this, but, you know, I'm trying to focus on potential good, all right? And some people confuse that with endorsement. You know what I mean? That's not the same, dude. Yeah, spoiled. Yeah, I know. What would you like to wrench on an RS-25 with? Snap-on or Matco? Nice subject change. Snap-on's fine. Do you like the RS-25D? Shuttle motors? Yeah, absolutely. I don't think we take that as an endorsement. Well, people put me in a really hard spot, dude. Because if you say stuff, you know, in erudite, I don't mean to go barking up your tree. If you say stuff like they're only doing it to get richer, they only do it to get richer, that's just you regurgitating what somebody said on X. I know it is. All right? I know it is because I see those same damn threads. And I'm not trying to call people out about this stuff. Right? And nor can I say, like, if that might be the case with other things, I don't know. What I do know is with spaceflight policy, that's not what's going on here. It's not. It's just not. Like, and then I feel like a dick because I have to sit there and it feels like I'm running cover for the president. You know, like, that's what I mean about getting put in a real crappy spot. You know? Like, what am I supposed to do? We know you voted for Kanye West. Oh, crap. How'd you know? Dude, no way. I'll pencil in Mickey Mouse before I vote for that guy. Holy crap. You know, like, I'm just trying to be honest with you, and I'm not trying to piss anybody off. Like, please, you gotta believe me. Like, you gotta believe me, dudes. I'm trying to be optimistic. I'm trying to make your day better, I guess, but this is clearly not working, so. Bro, I don't know why what people worry about. We think of it, just be honest and be yourself. Somebody wants to make poor political ideas. Well, DNA, it's not that I... Well, first of all, I'm a streamer. That is inevitably part of my job. Second of all, The people I'm having these conversations with are friends. They're not just viewers. They're people that I know. I know these people. Some of these people have watched the stream for years.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Appreciate the hard work. Keep doing what you're doing, boss. Also, hi, Chet.
He does like fish sticks, Golden Goose. Yep. Thanks, Dino. Like, once again, you have my word that I'm never... And once again, I have to say this every damn stream nowadays, but you have my word that I'm never going to try to shoehorn some agenda down your throat. Like, the only thing that I want is more rockets. That's it. That's it. And I will try to optimistically think about the best way to do that and report the news as such. Right? That's it. I swear. I do hate you, though, for some reason. That's understandable, dude. Like, that's fair. And race cars. Yep, yep. Yeah, the odds on impact on 2024 YR4 have gone down. If you do more rockets and race cars, I'll vote for you. Yeah. Best way to do that under current conditions. I love Lamp. Dude, me too. Roasting, apologies if I pissed you off or being annoying. I should be less emotional. Erudite, it's fine. And I didn't mean to single you out. I saw a lot of people saying that in chat. Like, look, man, don't put me in a position where I have to run cover for the last president or the current president or Elon. Don't put me in that position, man. That's all I'm asking. I get it. I'm putting my opinions out on the internet. I get it. I'm asking you guys as friends, not as just the guy that you watch for entertainment, okay? Don't make me do that. Please don't. Because, look, the truth matters, man. That matters a lot to me. And, well, a lot of politics, like, is abstracted to me, right? Spaceflight policy is not. I know a lot about that. So, don't put me in a position where I have to do that, please. Was up to 3. It's still at 3? I thought it went down. Isn't the RS-25 technically a rocket engine and the solid rocket boosters are motors? It's interchangeable, 1062. There are some people that, you know, it's got to be called this, it's got to be called this. I don't care. If you say solid rocket engine, I'll know what you mean. Hey, oh snap, 77-month resub. You're a lonely beacon of restraint and self-sacrifice in a squall of car crazies. Signed, Tom Wolf. Oh snap, I'm trying, man. I'm trying as hard as I can, dude. It's so difficult. Like, it's tough. And I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining. I'm gonna keep doing it. I'm sorry. I'm gonna probably keep doing it. Like, frick me, right? I'm just trying to be a good role model and a good example. Like, and teach people about stuff. I'm just trying to do what I've been doing for like the last 10 years, but it's increasingly doesn't seem long for this world, and I don't know how to feel about that. You know, like, damn it, I'm screwed. Hey, I'm new here. What are you talking about? We talk about spaceflight policy here mostly, Denali. Yeah, that's what's going on. I like to generally leave political rhetoric out of my streams, but that's become really difficult lately, being a spaceflight fan and Elon Musk being in the position that he's in. That's been a little bit difficult to stay neutral. That's what I'm talking about. Generally, though, we talk about space flight and space flight accessories, you know, like. Yeah, anyway. Yeah, I've been called everything under the sun, dude, in DMs. I've been called a fascist all the time in DMs. I've been called a commie in DMs all the time, too. I get called everything. I don't know what that says about me, but some crazy people are calling me a fascist and some crazy people are calling me a communist. That tells me, you know, that, hey, that means right in the center. That means we're doing all right, I guess. Like, you know, like, you're a donut. Yeah, maybe a little bit. Dude, you should share some of the unhinged stuff I get in my inbox. It's ridiculous. There was an ad time break a while back. Person rolled a 16. So? Have you been called a royalist yet? No. No. I did make a joke about the British Crown once. It was tongue-in-cheek, and I didn't mean for it to be taking, like, literally, and that did piss a lot of people off a little while back. Yeah. But, yeah, I don't know. What are you going to spend your $5,000 on? Just don't do me like that, dead scum. Don't do me like that. Don't. I swear to God. Anyway, all right. If we want to roll for ad time was rolled for... Rolled D16. What do we got? Oh! If I pick your brain off stream with car questions about an accurate TL, does that put me in the bad column? Don't know what you think about Hondas. I don't mind Hondas at all. Dude, I love my American cars. That doesn't mean I hate everything else. I owned 2 Hondas once upon a time. I mean, I might not be able to answer it, but you could ask me here. I don't care. Don't bother me. I think you need a different die. I don't think so. Yeah, what does that do during the Stationeer stream? That was interesting. That was awesome, Sea Kraken. See, the interesting thing is that that guy was just... Okay. You don't get... All right, Sea Kraken, I'm going to precursor this with saying you don't last in this industry by calling your audience crazy. Any particular person. Or stupid. Or anything like that. I try not to do that. Sometimes the passion comes through and I say stuff that I don't mean. I'm not perfect. With that being said, that guy was a nut bar. And that guy was so ridiculously crazy, I thought it was hilarious. Like, I don't know what that says about me as a person. That was the funniest thing I've seen. I was like, oh my God. Yeah, I was like, I'm like, dude, I'm just trying to play a video game. Leave me alone. Oh, man. Some guy tried to go off about, you know, how he knew more physics than NASA or something while I was playing Stationeers, and said because his point was because he knew more about physics than NASA does. That was his conclusion for, like, justifying that space doesn't exist. Like, guys, it was true schizophrenic stuff. Like, I'm not, like, dude, it like, I wasn't even, like, mad. This guy was just, dude, like 1,000 words per minute, just paragraph after paragraph after paragraph. Like, I thought it was a bot just putting in stuff. Like, I was confused for a second, but, you know, like, I could have conversations with the dude, right? And dude, I'm like, I wasn't even mad. Like, you know, sometimes when people say, oh, we didn't land on the moon, it's like, it's annoying, right? Like, this guy was like, I was just like, I don't know. Oh, please tell me more. This is great. You know, we get quite a few people like that interested in meteorology. Yeah, exactly. It's the same guys who say they invented a car that runs on water and made a perpetual motion device. Dude, Mason, I don't know if you were there for that stream, bro. That dude. Crazy. Like, crazy. There is a crazy guy in town that I grew up with who legally changed his name to Archimedes Plutonium. He was a quack that tried to prove the solar system is a giant plutonium atom. Right. Okay. Okay. Would you say he was common sense? Oh, a CSS specialist? No, this guy was way beyond CSS. This guy made CSS look like Neil deGrasse Tyson. All right, like, it's like, Bro, what's wrong with you? Yo, you need to go to like a mental hospital like now. Remember the Mars contamination guy? That's what I'm talking about. That's the guy. Or was it a different guy? I don't know. There's a lot. Anyway, moving on. Consider me Miles Davis. Yeah, Snake. Yeah, Snake. I remember that. It was a different guy. Thought I had a clip of dude. Like I said, this wasn't like standard, like normie, like. I don't know about that whole space thing. This guy was like textbook schizoid. It was unreal. Anyway, all right. I'll finish up with the rest of the space news here. There's a. Sounds like you need to write a book about streaming. Dude, I have so many stories. You guys have no clue. Like. You have no idea, dude. I just thought of one that I can't tell you guys about. Anyway, rest of the space. I'm sorry, I don't mean to leave you on a hook. Maybe I'll do that if I ever retire from streaming. I'll tell you guys the crazy stories. Like maybe we'll do that in another 10 years or something. You know? I can't. No, I'm not going. I'm not going. It's not right. It's not right. Oh boy. Retire in 10 years. You'll be what? 35? Steve Ree, how old do you think I am? You guys think? $25. 25? You think I'm 25? Really? No. No. 69. Yeah. Yeah. Right. I turned 37 this year. Oh, that felt weird to say. I had more beard than that at 25. Bro, I'm Italian. Italians can't grow beards. How's the matter? When's the last time you saw the Fonzie with a freaking beard? 37 in a row? I was going to guess 34. Isn't he Jewish, though? Yeah, that's a good point. James Gandolfini. You never saw Tony Soprano with a mustache, all right? There you go. Boom. I'm pretty sure he was slightly younger than me, to be honest. I guess not then. I mean, thanks for the compliment, I guess. Carmela, will you please shut the door? Bob, is it bad if sometimes you know, like if it sometimes I sleep in, like Bree has to get up to do coding stuff early in the morning, right? For software things, and you know, she opens the door and you know, I'm like half asleep. I'm like, hey, Brimo, will you please shut the door? She finds it funny and shuts the door because we watch Sopranos together, so. Dude, my poor ears. Sorry! What's the plan for After Space News? Back to workers, yeah. Will you please shut the door? Camilla, will you please shut the door? All right. We need an eventual YouTube member stream revealing these. I'll tell this crazy streaming stories when I retire. When's that happening? Not anytime soon. Okay? Anyway, let's finish this up. House Science Committee. The House Science Committee is having a SSD Space and Aeronautics Subcommittee hearing. Step by step, the Artemis program and NASA's path to human exploration of the moon, Mars, and beyond. It's happening on the 26th, so it's a week from today at 10 a.m. Yes, I'm going to be here. Yes, I'm going to watch it. I'm going to put the chat in emote-only mode. Damn it. Damn it. All right. Rocket Lab has a new video out. 60 launches in 60 seconds. Thanks for riding on Electron for a 60th mission, Black Sky. Yeah, the mission yesterday was 60 missions. Hang on, if this has promo music behind it, I probably can't play it.
4, 3.
Yeah, I can't play it. Every Electron launch. 60 flights is no joke for a launch vehicle, guys. We're spoiled by Falcon 9, but 60 flights is no joke. When did Rocket Lab first start flying? When was their first flight? 2018? Something like that? 2019? Somewhere in there? What are your thoughts about Neutron? Neutron's going to be great, Ike. The real challenge will be finding a market, but Rocket Lab clearly has a market for their rocket launches because they've launched 60 times. Neutron's going to be sick, dude. Yeah. If anybody can actually do partial reuse aside from SpaceX and do it right, I believe it's Rocket Lab. Do you know why? You know how you really get good at like doing rockets? Launching them. Launching them. That's how you get good at that. I don't know what would be crazier, your streamer stories or your sister's stories from her time in the DMV as a behind-the-wheel tester. Oh. Quite a show yesterday while having a smoke. SpaceX pieces falling over Poland. Yeah, Storm, I heard about that. Yeah, the Starlink 11-4 second stage re-entered over Poland. And somebody said about this. Somebody talked about this at the beginning of Space News before our, weekly EJ has to headbutt the wall because I have to talk about politics segment. Look, at the end of the day, it's not okay. It's not okay. Falcon 9 second stages haven't been completing their deorbit burns, and that's causing them to come down uncontrolled in areas that are populated. Look, man, I have a problem when the Chinese do that, and guess what? I got a big problem when SpaceX does that. Don't do that. Rockets that go up into space and come back down and land in populated areas aren't rockets. They're missiles. They got a word for that. Missile. That's what that is. Not okay. That needs to get nipped in the butt immediately. It's not cool. COPV did make it through, from what I can tell. Did something go wrong with the deorbit burn? Jack, if I had to guess, launching these direct-to-cell satellites mixed with Starlink V2 minis is screwing their performance, and the deorbit burns aren't working correctly. That's my guess. I've noticed that since they started launching the 21 combination of 13 and 8, 13 Starlink V2 minis and 8 direct-to-cell, that's when second stage problems really started happening. Could be a coincidence. Could be wrong. Who knows? Where the rocket comes down is not my department. Yeah, for Von Braun, who launched expendable rockets. Elon doesn't do that. Boom. So it very much is your department. You know, case in point. They found the performance limit, now they'll pull it back. It needs to get fixed, no matter what. SpaceX achieved the impossible at landing 2 rockets in 2 different countries last night. Yep. Yep. They did. That while Rocket Lab was launching their mission, SpaceX launched their Falcon 9. Falcon 9 and the first stage, I think it was which one was it? 1070, I think. On its 16th flight. I know the 16th flight is right. I don't know the booster. $1080. There you go. Cool, cool. Yeah, isn't 1070 is a Falcon Heavy core? Technically, they did it twice in one day. U.S. Bahamas and U.S. Poland, Kappa. Ooh, spicy. It's possible some stage 2s they produce have slight issues and defects as they get, and then get assigned to Starlink. I don't know how good that theory is. No. If a stage is defective, Erudite, you don't just be like, oh, we'll put this on a lower priority mission. If SpaceX operated that way, they would have gotten somebody killed a long time ago. What's up? Just from what I heard, joining and reading chat, did something happen? Sewer Rat, no, I'm not getting hung up on it again, chat. I'm just telling Sewer Rat, and then we're going on to the next subject. And I think that's what I'm going to do from now on. It's not really getting us anywhere, and there's really nothing to teach. But anyway, Sewer Rat, a bunch of bigwigs at NASA stepped down. Jim Free, the kind of interim second in charge at NASA, decided to retire. Three bigwigs at Marshall Space Flight Center decided to take an early retirement. What that means is it's a very gray area. We'll probably never know. I just had this conversation, Sewer Rat, and we just got off of it. We had about an hour discussion about potentially what this could mean and stuff, and it didn't end well. I didn't like the direction that the stream took, so I'm changing the subject again, but that's what's going on. Anyway, this is coming from Jeff Faust. A new NASA statement on workforce issues, noting that the agency is working with the Office of Personnel Management on exemptions for those in the probationary period in mission-critical functions. NASA continues to work as quickly as possible to comply. Oh, look, more bull crap. NASA continues to work as quickly as possible to comply with the guidance and direction provided by the U.S. Office of Personnel Management for the Deferred Resignation Program and probationary employees. The agency is in the process of validating hundreds of employees who responded to the deferred resignation offers before the deadline. Some probationary employees have taken the deferred resignation offer, and those individuals have been or will be on administrative leave by the end of this week. NASA is working with OPM on the exemptions for those in the probationary period in mission-critical functions. So yeah, NASA was spared that huge probationary layoff thing. No one got laid off at NASA, which is pretty cool. Now, I don't know if that's just some kind of weird screw-up or if somebody said, no, don't do this to NASA. I have no idea. It remains to be seen. Like I said, we're just in a holding pattern here, guys, and yeah. We'll see. Next story before the tangent. Yeah, we're actually Nova. What I was thinking about is like it's not a bad idea. No, what I was thinking about is like maybe just do like 2 times a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays for right now, just playing games all day and cover games and rocket launches. And then, we'll do space news like Monday, Wednesday, and then Flame Trench on Friday. I think we'll just do that until like Rook's confirmation, guys, because there's really nothing to go off of. Like I said, we're in a holding pattern. I've been struggling to fill space news with poignant, like with discussions that the conversations that are cool stuff to have conversations about. It's just not a lot right now. To be clear, I was asking about Poland because someone put that SpaceX landed in the Bahamas in Poland and wondered if they missed. Oh, okay, Surat. Sorry. Good. Has Astra talked more about the supposed reflight due to new funding? No, we've not heard anything. Like, you are in a CRJ in a holding pattern, are you? No, I'd rather be in a holding pattern than landed. Engineering Cybertruck for maximum safety. Sure, we can look at this. What's this about?
Core of all Teslas, and Cybertruck's no exception.
Crash test executing in 3, 2, 1.
Today's test is the first Cybertruck crash test, and it's a 35 miles an hour full frontal, which is one of the most severe crash tests in the industry. So we have to make sure that we absorb the energy correctly and manage that acceleration so we can better protect occupants.
There's a lot of misconceptions that this big, ominous-looking vehicle is going to be unsafe for other road users. We designed it to have the crash structure way down low. It's not only in line with the center of gravity, but it's compatible with other vehicles on the road, which means it's a safer crash for everyone involved.
Oh! All right.
After the crash, we're going back, really making sure that our models match up with exactly the positioning of everything. And then with our simulations, we can see how the airbags are deploying, how the occupant is then interacting with these airbags.
We get that progressive crush, the motion of the tow hook first, and then the bumper as it crushes. And then the next thing we have is the casting.
The large casting in Cybertruck is performing in a different manner compared to your typical stamped steel structures. Typically, it'll bend into a 3-point bend and absorb energy, whereas with a casting, it's going to break off into very tiny, small pieces. And the smaller the pieces that it breaks up into, the more efficient your structure is.
Yeah, so check this out. So cars, if you really want, if you want to know, so cars have crumple zones. These crumple zones are a way in physics of dissipating kinetic energy. So cars, a lot of momentum. It's going to hit something. You hit something, you have a lot of kinetic energy. Do you see how, the Cybertruck is, the frame is like those boxes, right? And you see how as you get further and further, like when a box starts to get crumpled, it just shatters to pieces. Every one of those shatters is dissipating a little bit of the car's kinetic energy. All right. The car hits something, and the way that the casting crushes, right, dissipates all of the energy. Now, why is that important? Well, obviously, if the car doesn't dissipate the energy, your head hitting the dashboard will. So it's better to have a crumpled zone than a crumpled skull, because that's how it used to work. You got into a head-on collision with an old car, and I'm saying this as a fan of old cars. You get into a head-on collision with an old car, you're gonna get shish kebabbed by the steering wheel. Yeah, that's not good. So crumple zones are actually amazing. This is really cool because it dissipates all the energy. And the way they engineered this casting, that's what the dude was just saying. The way they engineered this casting is designed to dissipate the kinetic energy that a Cybertruck, which is heavy, really freaking heavy, right? It's designed to dissipate the energy in a way that doesn't kill the people that it's hitting and also doesn't kill the people in the Cybertruck.
Today we're in the crash test site for rollover
Super
testing.
cool.
Make sure we get a lot of data on when it almost rolls versus when it actually rolls, so we can figure out what's the best time to deploy airbags to protect the occupants. We're doing 4 types of different...
Yeah, well, because, Timo, exactly. Well, because Cybertruck is using a cast, what's called subframe, that's what that piece is. Because they're using a cast subframe, it would shatter and not crumple. On a car that's just made out of stamped steel, like the dude was saying, right? A car that's just made out of stamped steel, that would crumple. If you actually look, the steel cross member here, so Cybertruck has the red part is a steel cross member, right? It's actually crumpling. You could see it crumple right there in that shot. You see it bend in a very certain way. It actually bends up. Now, once again, that's stamped parts that are welded together. But if you look at the cast aluminum control arms, look, check it out. The control arms sheared right there and right there. They both sheared in the exact same spot. That right there is designed to dissipate energy of this big freaking tire. Like, that's, the energy's got to go somewhere, dude. It dissipates it right into the control arm and shatters it into a bajillion pieces. Well, not a bajillion, shatters it in 2 pieces. Once again, it's designed to do that to take some of that force away. All the force that gets put into these parts and breaks these parts is just less force that the humans that are on board have to endure. And don't get me wrong, it's not just Cybertruck that does this. Every car has to have crumple zones. It's by law. That's part of the reason why a lot of cars nowadays look the exact same shape, because there's convergent design with, you know, safest crumple zones and stuff. I mean, but yeah, whatever. I have stuff to say about that as a car fan. I like cars, not lifted cars that kind of are being good at are good at kind of being an SUV and kind of good at being a car and really not good at anything. Yeah, I don't like those. Those aren't a fan. I'd rather drive a minivan. And I don't like minivans.
Whereas with a casting, it's going to break off into very tiny, small pieces. And the smaller the pieces that it breaks up
see them
into,
shatter,
more efficient the structure
shatter.
is.
You see it shatter? That's super cool, man.
Today we're in the crash test site for rollover testing. Make sure we get a lot of data on when it almost rolls versus when it actually rolls.
Yeah, David, I don't know. Correlation
Doesn't
equal causation necessarily, but...
We're doing 4 types of different rollovers.
Whoa! That's sick.
Next to a curb rollover, where you go laterally towards a curb. The next one is similar to the last one, except there's no curb, but it's a soil ditch. Finally, the last one is big ramp ditch, where you drive down at different speeds.
We test until failure, and we'll keep increasing the speed until we get a rollover.
So the first step is rollover prevention, designed in such a way with a low center of gravity and good suspension systems. The second step is rollover protection, where the airbags and the structure of the truck come in. So if the truck were to roll over, you want to make sure that the cabin is protected and it can hold up its own weight, plus additional weight as well to protect the occupants in that case.
What this testing shows is that the overall design of Cybertruck is very robust. I've been impressed with the way the Cybertruck maintained its structural integrity during multiple different types of rollovers.
A typical gas pickup truck is carrying the weight in its body and its gas tank, which are both mounted pretty high in the vehicle. Majority of that mass is in the battery pack, which is down all the way on the floor. It's actually the floor of the vehicle. Cybertruck has lowest probability of injury and the lowest probability of rollover in any pickup truck on the market.
No one thought it would be possible to build a tough truck that's also very safe, but at Tesla we don't stop until we meet our high level of safety.
Cybertruck
That rollover just crushed 5K worth of cameras. I want to go look at it again.
Truck's low center of gravity, exoskeleton, and advanced crash structure are what earn it that 5-star overall crash safety rating.
See, here's the other thing that you got to think about. And, you know, I said that you got crumple zones, but cars nowadays, even Cybertruck, are engineered to crumple here and here, but not here. You have to find a way to dissipate as much energy as you can, and then any energy that doesn't get dissipated from the front shattering into a bajillion pieces has to move through the truck to the back and bend parts over here. Now, interesting thing here, if you look at the crash test, right? They showed it here, like when they show it, right? Now check this out. Look. So obviously you got your crash test, right? You know, It looks like the airbag breaks the windshield when it deploys, but... So look. See the checkerboard markers? Look. See them there? They're looking for deformation over the back end of the vehicle. See what I mean? The reason why they're doing that is because they're looking for exactly what I just said. They're looking for how much energy gets dissipated to the back. You'll know that energy gets put back here. The kinetic energy gets transmitted through and bends something back here by how much these things move around. Now, if you watch when the Cybertruck hits, watch what happened to all these dots. See, did you see it? It was kind of comes at you fast. Watch the back panels of Cybertruck when it hits something. See him move? Did you see it? That's what it's doing. That's exactly what it's doing. All of that, it's taking all that energy and transmitting it through the truck. The load pathways for the kinetic energy go around the people inside of the truck and break the back of the truck instead. It's really freaking cool. Don't get me wrong. Every truck, every car, every vehicle is engineered like that nowadays, which is pretty sweet. I think that's super cool. Like, if you don't know me, right? Like, I say like, oh, I love old cars. Old cars are better. They were all that back in my day. They were well, but crumple zones are sweet. That's really interesting engineering. That's really cool. And yeah, if I'm remembering right, somebody already said it in chat, but Volvo was the first ones to figure this out. A Swedish company. Exactly, Ike. Yep. Also, I can't help but notice that the passenger side airbag shatters the windshield. But I don't think that's really that big of a deal because I'd rather have the person not shattered and the windshield shattered. Yeah, seatbelt. That's right, Nano. Mm-hmm. Has anybody done a video of like how Cybertruck is actually made? Because, you see this bottom one here. And it looks like they have you have an aluminum casting as your motor mount, and then a stamped steel and welded frame for your suspension mounts. Am I looking at this right? A welded gussets on my truck to stop all that crumple nonsense. Okay. All aluminum? The red's gotta be steel, 619. That's gotta be steel, dude. Look at it bend. Oh, man. The passenger airbag thing is why a lot of modern vehicles detect if a passenger is present. If there's no passenger, it disables the airbag to prevent withheld damage. Yeah. Yeah, see, look. See it down here? This thing. Over here. There's no... that looks like steel to me. This is aluminum. See the difference? I mean, don't get me wrong. This is painted. Show that stamping bit again. Dude, it's cast. It's it's a casting machine. They cast the subframe. The entire subframe is cast in one piece. So they cast the front and rear subframe, or not subframe, the front and rear, like unibody, I guess would be the right way to say it. And then the front and rear subframes are attached to the battery tray. And then they have suspension subframes below that. Most Teslas are made like this nowadays. It's made in this badass freaking casting press. Look at that thing. Yeah, that's super freaking cool. That is a big casting for a car. The battery tray is structural as well. Yeah, so it's kind of like a body-on chassis car. but it's not, but it kind of is. See, and the other thing that I forgot to mention is that all these lines here, all these stringers in this casting are designed, they're directional on purpose to dissipate a crash. That's the whole idea. That's a big boy casting, dude. Anyway, that's super cool, man. We were like over here. Oh, that's awesome. That's cool. This is a pretty sweet video. Oh yeah, the cameras. That's what I wanted to see. Oh no, the high-speed camera! Have you seen any Monroe teardowns? No, I haven't, CW. Oh no. That is a high-speed camera. Oh, you're dead. It's so good at not rolling, it just that it just rolls too far. Yeah, right? I feel like the soil pit should be a bit bigger. GTF 5 physics where the car always ends up on his wheels. Yep. I'll say that driving a Tesla is not like anything else that you've driven before. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Dude, man, Bree called me nuts the other day. I think the front of this truck looks sick. It's the back that I can't stand. That looks awesome. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm just gonna go and say it. I think that looks cool. I think that's really, really sleek. That's a really cool looking vehicle. The back of Cybertruck looks unfinished to me. Like, it looks unfinished. The front is a kid killer like a lot of trucks. It's a truck, dude. What do you want? Like, dude, you look at it from the front, I think it looks great. It's the back. The back just looks like... It looks like Laura... No, I can't say that. I was about to say it looks like N64 Lara Croft. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. Good for you. Like, this just looks unfinished to me. Like, it needs another line back there. Like, it needs a spoiler and a deuce turret. Yeah, see, like, this just... It's something about it, man. Something about the back that I just really don't like. And I'm speaking that like as that from like a pure aesthetic point of view. Like, this doesn't look right. Something looks really wrong with this. Yeah, but dude, from the front, that looks awesome. Like, I'm sorry, like, I'm just gonna say it. That looks really cool. I like that. That looks mint. It's just the back. The back looks ridiculous. The front, but with a square body. Yeah, I guess. Needs a machine gun in the back. It does need a machine gun in the back. Like, see, that doesn't look bad at all. That looks really nice. It's just something about the back just looks bizarre to me. Like, this edge right here needs to be straight and then just cut like a pickup truck. Like, it's this thing going all the way back. It just looks weird. Pontiac Aztec, they gave up after the first half. They definitely did. But you know what? You know what's crazy about the Aztec? You know what's crazy about the Pontiac Aztec? It's a crossover SUV. It was one of the few times where GM actually predicted an automotive trend correctly. Actually, let's say one of the few times in the last 30 years. They predicted an automotive trend correctly. GM predicted the crossover SUV. which is one of the most popular vehicles around, like popular styles of vehicle, at least in the US nowadays, right? Right? That's what they did. They did it 10 years too early, though. They were right in making a crossover SUV. They were wrong releasing the said crossover SUV in 2005. Maybe release it in 2014 instead. But Pontiac wasn't a thing by then, so whatever. Remember the Cybertruck whistles made when they announced the truck? Yeah. It's like the Ford with the retro Thunderbird. Yeah, SVO. Yeah, great. Great example, dude. Same thing. Nope, still ugly in 2015. Hey, I said they predicted crossover SUVs. I never said the Aztec was a nice looking car, okay? I call BS on crossovers being popular. I'd call that they're the most purchased because they're the only things available. Yeah, you're putting my words under a magnifying glass in this context, though, Aqualex, don't you think? You know good and well what I meant. Come on now, show it getting stuck in the snow. You don't want to show... You'd rather see a Cybertruck intact getting stuck in the snow other than one getting crushed? Alright. Weird request, but alright. Like I said, dude, I don't care what anybody says. I think the front of this thing looks freaking cool. You know, seeing it from that angle, it doesn't look as weird for some reason. Anything will get stuck in the snow, Graham, if you bottom it out. By the way, what's that? Save RGV versus SpaceX lawsuit about the water suppression system. Check the last update. Order of dismissal. Case terminated on 2/18/2025 by the judge. Parties involved. Yep. Yeah. See. Case dismissed. The back does remind you of Lara Croft. Thanks. Oh, you're welcome. Getting stuck in the snow is for sure a skill issue. Yeah, absolutely. Anything will get stuck in the snow if you're dumb enough. That's pretty sick, dude. And, like, I'll even go so far as to say from this angle, it doesn't look that bad. It's just, from certain angles, the thing just looks ridiculous, dude. I want to see the crash test
Cybertruck crash test, and it's a 35 miles an hour full frontal, which is one of the most severe crash tests in the industry. So we have to make sure that we absorb the energy correctly and manage that acceleration so we can better protect occupants.
There's a lot of misconceptions that this big, ominous-looking vehicle is going to be unsafe for other road users. We designed it to have the crash structure way down low. It's not of gravity, but it's...
I just want to see it crash. There we go. That's violent. This video is good. What is this? But can I haul a stack of plywood to the job site? No, Falcon. No, you can't. And in that regard, I think Cybertruck is more of a utility, a sport utility vehicle. It is an SUV in the purest sense of the term. If you think of Cybertruck more like a Bronco or an old like Bronco or an old Chevy Blazer, it makes a lot more sense. It is a sport utility vehicle in the purest sense of that term. And yet people drive it around in the city. Dude, they're all over Boston. Not even kidding. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. What's this video?
We're going to try out, just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to show you how easy it is. And Shouldn't try.
I'm going to show you how easy it is. Demonstration, do not attempt. It's a short bed half ton. Same thing as a short bed half ton Chevy or Ford. But it's a short bed half ton F250.
This at home.
I would say this is not analogous to a 150, Bill. It's more analogous to a Super Duty, an F250 Super Duty. 6-lug rims, dude.
Gives you a good idea of how precisely the vehicle will control the speed on the way up this hill. And obviously I'm not putting any input in, so it's doing it all on its own. And it'll keep it nice and smooth all the way up to the top.
We're out here in Moab testing off-road mode.
So we've designed the new off-road app to be super accessible. Just tap it. We've got Overland, we've got Baja.
In overland mode, we try to efficiently get the power down on the ground.
Cybertruck has the ability to do cross-linking and air
that's
suspension,
cool,
which helps
man.
you push traction to the wheels.
And in rock mode, it's all about keeping the wheels extremely tight to the ground and glued to the rock.
Oh, the escalator.
It'll increase the ride height to very high. We use the millisecond precision of the electric motors. It maximizes the amount of traction you can get for the terrain you're on. And Baja mode is very much so driver focused. The way I like to think of Baja.
This is what I mean about a sport utility vehicle. I'm not saying you couldn't do this with an F-250. You probably could, but this thing is really kind of built for it.
Mode is it sort of takes the truck and shrinks the wheelbase a little bit. So you go from having a full-size utilitarian truck.
That's cool, Snake.
A go-kart.
We've got control of your handling balance.
Yeah, Warlock, right?
If you find yourself in a situation.
Warlock, I remember when Starship when SpaceX first debuted the landing version of Starship, like the lunar lander version of Starship. Me and a buddy of mine, a viewer that doesn't watch the stream anymore, I don't know what happened to that dude, but whatever. Me and a buddy of mine measured the elevator. So the elevator kind of folds out on Starship and then it goes down, right? The elevator's the same size as a Cybertruck. It's that big on the cargo lunar lander variant of Starship.
Where you're looking for a little more stability, you can push that handling balance forward.
So, I'm just saying it might not be a coincidence.
Have a little bit more fun, loosen it up, you can move it rearwards, and you'll have a nice drifting experience.
That's pretty cool, dude.
We've also got quick access to Wade mode. It'll raise your ride height,
Who's Wade?
pressurize your battery pack.
The bottom floor of the truck is all battery pack. Tesla has an extreme focus on safety, so we pressurize the battery pack to keep the water out. No other vehicle can do this. Our weight height's 815 millimeters, which is about to the top of these tires. We do that to keep the cabin dry, keep the electronics dry, and keep you dry when you're going through deep water, so you have a great off-roading experience.
Trail Assist is Cybertruck's off-road cruise control. So here I'm completely
So is the Cybertruck good now? Okay, I think Cybertruck looks ridiculous from certain angles, but I would be lying to you if I didn't think it was a good truck. And dude, like I said, I'm not saying this because I'm paid or bought by anybody. If I had to choose between a Cybertruck and like a 96 F350, I'm taking my 96 F350. Quad cab long box, I'll take that. I don't want that's fine. I'll take the truck. Cybertruck is cool though. I can like old trucks and drive old trucks, but still appreciate Cybertruck. I think it's a pretty cool vehicle. Like, screw me, right? Like, screw me, I guess. The 48-volt architecture, Aeronor, is amazing. That's really, really cool. That should be industry standard. I very much agree with it. Guys, the wire harness on a Cybertruck is as simple as a car from the 1950s. Tesla, with their 48-volt architecture, is using the wires that can transmit power and data. You can do power and data through the wires. So you don't need wires for sensors. You don't need wires for lights. You just need one wire that goes back there, and one wire is connected into everything. One wire is connected into all the sensors. It's connected into all the lights. It's connected into everything. Just one wire. It's simple. I like that. I really like that. That for the same reason why I like my old trucks. It's called ether loop. That, Mason, I think is genius. Every car should be doing that. Internal combustion engine, electric motor, whatever. You know, so certain aspects, technical aspects are cool and great, but everything else sucks. I don't think it sucks, dude. I don't think it sucks. I think it's a cool truck. It just, for me, so Surat, I can only speak to personal experience. Like, objectively, it seems like a very capable vehicle. And it's bulletproof, which is pretty cool. I saw a dude unload a Tommy gun at the side of this thing, at the door. Now, the glass is another story. I saw a guy unload a Tommy gun at the door, and the 45 ACP was bouncing off the side, which is okay. That's pretty cool. I think that's neat. My really only gripe with Cybertruck is that this looks really weird to me. I hate the back. I can't stand it. I don't know what it is. Something about the proportions of the back of it it just looks weird. Yeah, they're using a similar stainless to Starship, which, yeah, that's also super cool. Like, now, here's the thing, Surat. Okay, first and foremost, I don't have 80 G's to spend on a vehicle. Second of all, I'm not spending 80 G's on a damn truck. Okay? So, I think it's cool. I think it's an awesome vehicle. Never buy one. Maybe sometime down the road, like maybe when it's not that expensive, right? But, like, dude, I got a 96 or 97 F250 outside that, you know, the F2 shitty, the Hoonigan F2 shitty. That's the name. I'm not swearing. I have that outside, and that thing is, how old is it now? 28. 28. I don't like that. It's 28 years old. It gets like maybe 15 miles, 10 to 15 miles per gallon on a good day, but you can beat the snot out of it, and I got it for $500. $500. I got it for nothing. Nothing. It's simple. It's easy to fix. It'll never break. Like, if it does, you can fix it. Like, why would I spend 80 G's on a truck when I could spend $800 on a truck? You know, like, one of those numbers is a lot higher than the other one, you know? Yeah, and it's still waiting on a new ECU. You know, like, I like old trucks. I think old trucks are fantastic. Like, but with that being said, you know, with that all being said, I used to be like, I hate new cars are too complicated. I used to be like that. Now, I don't know, like something like Cybertruck, I'm not afraid of it or anything. I think it's a cool truck. I think it's neat. It's a neat vehicle. Tesla's a pretty damn good car. Don't get me wrong, it's not like a Mercedes or something, but it's a pretty damn good car. Pretty good. For an electric vehicle, it's very good, you know, like, but I see you like to base your decisions on budgets. Got them. I can like new electric vehicles. I think Cybertruck's cool. I don't hate on Tesla at all. Like, there's a lot of people that like old vintage cars that hate on Teslas. Like, all right, whatever. I mean, I guess I can understand that, but I don't hate them. I wouldn't buy one, but I don't hate them. So to be clear, you're saying that Tesla can be a good truck from most of what I hear online. Given the amount of salt, I get the impression it was a terrible truck. No, did you not just see the videos of what that thing just did? You try doing that in another stock vehicle. There's not many trucks that can do this out of the box, dude. And this is why. Like, the only thing I hate is just the back from an aesthetic point of view. Like, there's not many trucks that can do this out of the box, and have go through this kind of abuse. Like maybe a Ford Raptor or a Ram TRX, probably. Like, Like, dude, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that with a car. That's not a good idea. Like, dude, stuff like this. I mean, you might be able to get away with it with an F-150 or like a, you know, Silverado, like a nice Silverado. Probably could. Ram TRX would do that. Like, but look, dude, that's pretty good doing that. See, that's 3 wheels on the ground. Like, not many vehicles can do this out of the box, dude. It's pretty damn good. It's a pretty good truck. A Jeep probably could do it. Yeah, sure. And that further kind of feeds what I'm talking about. Cybertruck is an SUV. It's a sport utility vehicle in the very purest sense of the term. Like, it's a sport utility vehicle in the same way like a RAV4 or a Jeep or a Bronco or a Blazer. An old Blazer and old Bronco would be a sport utility vehicle. It's the same thing. That's what it is. It's really what it is. I don't know. I wouldn't call it a truck. It's an SUV. The Hilux could, sure, absolutely. It speaks that, Lord Guga, that's what I'm talking about. It speaks volumes to, you know, me liking old vehicles. I like old American trucks, but I mean, if you want to give me a 1985 Toyota SR5 Hilux, yeah, I'd drive that. Yeah, I'd drive that. Sure. Suddenly, a lot of the online salt makes sense. I mean, you know, people are showing pictures. I saw a picture of it on X, I think yesterday, of one getting stuck in the snow. The guy high-centered in snow. He tried to drive it through, like, 3 feet of snow. No car is going to do that. Nothing will do that. You put anything through that, it'll get stuck. You know, that's the thing. And people are using it to be like, look at how much Cybertruck sucks. Like, dude, the people that are posting that kind of crap, that's not the own you think it is, dude. Anybody that knows anything about cars, you know, knows that you're making yourself look really stupid. Did you see the new electric G-Wagon? Ugh. Electric G-Wagon. Electric G-Wagon. That's almost as ridiculous as General Motors coming out with an electric Humvee. Now it all makes sense. What are your thoughts on their next-gen unboxed manufacturing process? Who, Phil? Yeah, that G-Wagon with the electric motors is doing... Call it ridiculous, but we see them. Bob, when I was... Last time I was in Michigan, I think we were in Fenton, I think. I don't know that area very well. I saw one driving around. Yeah, I saw a couple driving around. It might be due to the fact that they're made down the street. That probably has something to do with it, you know. Tesla, what is the unboxed manufacturing process? What does that mean, Phil? I'm not familiar. I have a buddy that test drives those at Black Lake. They're super fun, apparently. I mean, Dino, the electric Humvee has 1,000 horse. I was making a joke. It has 1,000 horsepower. Look, man, I don't care if it's a tuba. If you can't have fun with something that has 1,000 horsepower, you're doing something very wrong. You know? Well, I haven't heard about that, but that's pretty interesting. I said we sell them, but cool. Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, no, I've seen them around, dude. I saw one driving around here the other day. I was like, what the hell's that doing here? And here's China doing China things. What's up, playa? What do you got here? You'd never buy one? I'd buy an H1, Bob. I have no shame about that. I'd drive around an H1. Sure. It's a freaking H1. It's a cool car, a cool truck. Like, that thing's awesome. Like, you'd paint it green. No. I wouldn't paint it green. Okay, I wouldn't paint it green. It would come painted green because I'd buy military surplus. Or desert tan, whatever. It's fine. Did I tell you before we watch this video, Bear? Did I tell you guys I tried to sell Das on buying mil surplus Humvees for NSF? He was like, hell no. I'm like, why not? Why not? It'd be the best NSF truck ever. He's like, it's got no air conditioning, man. I'm like, so it's open cab, it's fine. He's like, dude, I'm from Texas. Frick you. We're not buying a truck with no air conditioning. I'm like, all right, that's fair. I'm only borrowing your Humvee. Yeah, yep. All right, what's this? Oh my God. That's what I'm saying, Ordon. Why the frick would you need this feature? What? Why did... What are you doing? What?
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Luke! 67-month resub. What the What? What? I mean... In case of caltrops. What is it, a James Bond car? What are you doing? What? Why the... Okay, that was in fact a Temu Ferrari. Yeah, it was something. I don't know why you'd want that in a road vehicle, but anyway. All right, well. To headbutt protesters if they're grouping in squares. Yeah, dead scum, yeah. I know. Knock it off about that EV garbage. You need this for the 59. What do you mean EV garbage? What are you talking about? Ford V10? Sorry, Hellfish. YouTube really wants to show me a LinkedIn ad. What is this?
We all know, as a fact, that the pinnacle of engine sound comes from the F1 V10 era.
So why couldn't you go to your local junkyard, pick up a...
Hard disagree. V12s. V12 sounded better. $317 in the video. Who is this? This is Build It Yourself.
you don't have to take our word for it. My parents flew out just to hear this thing, and they helped us get it ready for the actual first start. Obviously, they saw the video last year.
Can we just... I don't hate this. I don't hate what's. I really appreciate what's going on.
It's so loud. Bring it in person. Cut to the scene.
So what did they do to this thing? What did they... Where'd they get the heads for this motor? What does that say, what does that say on the valve? Can't really tell.
These heads look familiar to you. You're probably aware Ford built a couple prototype dual overhead cam V10s in the early 2000s. So,
yeah, they did.
We snuck into Ford's secret facility and stole a set. Just kidding. We actually built our own 4-valve heads in place of the 2-valve or 3-valve heads we all got stuck with. We chopped up Terminator Cobra heads and welded them back together to fit on our V10 block.
Bro, that's awesome. That's so cool. You know, that's so difficult. Oh my goodness. That's awesome. Yeah, see, that's what I was wondering. I'm like, what does that say on the valve cover? That says 40 valve. Okay, 10 cylinders, 4 valve per cylinder. All right.
10 block. It just started raining in the middle of fucking summer in Michigan.
Hey.
Anyways, why 4-valve?
Oh, these guys would be from Michigan. All right.
Two things. When's the last time you saw a 2-valve Lamborghini?
Tractors.
Lastly, 4-valve just makes more power, baby. We built a custom showrunner intake with dual drive-by-wire throttle body. Big
dude.
Old camshafts. And we built the bottom end with 13:1 compression ratio for the high horsepower, high RPM goodness. So you might be asking yourself,
what channel is this? These guys are awesome. Build it yourself. All right, instant sub. Instant sub. That's fantastic, dude. Bro, 13 to 1 compression. No wonder it sounds like an F1 car. That's awesome. You should watch the videos. They're making a rear-wheel drive Lincoln Continental in the new one. What? What? And they're also just putting a V10 in it. Oh, yeah. Sean, there you go. Because F1 sounds and things. Yeah, there you go. Random question. What do you think is the most yacht-like car the U.S. has ever built? The most yacht-like? Like land yacht, weather guy? Oh, snap. I don't know. Sounds like something I'd do. I know the most land yacht car here. The most land yachty car that I know, that I can think of off the top of my head, is probably a Mark II Continental. Look at this thing. Look at this car. The 58 Lincoln is unapologetically huge. Thank you, Bill. That's exactly what that's the car that popped in my head. Dude, the hood is the hood is huge. It's like 20 feet long. It's not, but look at that thing. 78 Lincoln, yeah. Boattail Buick with a 5.0 Judd V10. Boattail Buick. Yeah, that's a good one, Sean. The what is it? A 73 Riviera. Look at this thing. I don't know if you guys have seen this. This is one of the coolest freaking cars around, dude. Here, take a look. This is some land yachty goodness. Chrysler Imperial. Yep. Oh, dude. Not even kidding. I would daily drive this car.
Discovery, go and throttle up.
Look at the style, man. Dude, like, okay. I love 60s land yachts, man. I get it. Miles per gallon, I get it. It's not efficient. I understand. Bro, look at the presence that car has. Like, that car has freaking presence. Like, you see that, you're driving down the road, you're like, what the heck? An Imperial wagon. Ugh. Sean, I knew I liked you, but dude, look at that car. It's a freaking tank. Put a Merlin engine in it. Nice. Like, I like that. That's a nice car. So are you gonna do beam? It makes me want to work on my damn cars. They made those Buicks into lowriders back in the day. There you go. 3-speed auto. Bro, it's from 1972. What do you want? '58 Imperial, yeah. Gallons per mile. I mean, if you baby at Sea Kraken and you're just driving it to the grocery store and back every day, it's gonna be fine. Like, you could always get the Coronet inside. No. The unbox process.
A traditional way of making a vehicle is this. You stamp it, you build a body in white, you paint it, and you do final assembly.
Car.
And what's interesting is these shops are dictated by the organizational structures that exist. And they're dictated by the boundaries that exist in the factories that are laid out. If something goes wrong in final assembly, you block the whole line, and you end up with buffering in between. This is at the tail end of its manufacturing optimization. Henry Ford first invented this assembly line in 1922. It's been 100 years. This is at the tail end of its manufacturing optimization. Henry Ford first invented this assembly line in 1922. It's been 100 years, and it's really hard to make a change after 100 years. And when you watch it happen, it's actually really silly to a guy like me. You take all these stamp panels, you put them together, then you put them in a framing station, you build a body that looks something like a car, you put the doors on, and then you paint them. Once you get the color, you take the doors off, and then you start putting the interior inside the car. It comes in through the openings that already exist. I wish it went in like this big piece like this, but there's actually people coming in and out of the car. There's awkward movements. Then we lift the car up, we put stuff from underneath it, we put it down, then we put the seats in the car, and finally we close it all out with glass and we bring those doors that went away for a trip and we put them back in the car.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty much
Most of the time,
that's
we're
right.
doing this with a big, giant car and moving it and doing really nothing to it at all.
Smart
What's
cars,
funny there in
Jeremy.
this kind of whole process is that just recently Toyota just called this an engineering work of art.
True.
The Model Y.
That was humbling, but at Tesla, it's not good enough. If we're going to scale the way we want to do, we have to rethink manufacturing again. As part of the master plan, we have to make another step change in cost.
Yeah, Bob, I was going to say, it's not done exactly like that, dude. That's how cars were made. Cars haven't been made exactly like that since the 70s, dude. Like, there's a lot more focus on sub-assemblies nowadays. Like, I know from my in-laws, dude. A lot of Brimo's family works in the car industry. Surprise. My wife, from Detroit, has relatives that work in the auto industry. That's weird. Very strange.
We started this on Model Y when we made these huge gigacastings, and we deleted hundreds of parts. We simplified assembly with the Model Y structural battery, where we decided the floor should be a part of the car. The battery is the floor. We put the seats in the interior on the battery, and we bring it up through a big open hole, and we assemble it. And this allowed us to do things in parallel, fully rethinking the process and reducing the final assembly line.
Tesla thinks they invented body on chassis manufacturing. That's weird. That's weird. You know, like every pickup truck is made this way, right? Like every pickup truck is minus putting like the seats on the on the body or on the chassis, but like every pickup truck is made this way.
And we bring it up through a big open hole and we assemble it. And this,
like, they put the seats and the floor mats on the battery tray because it's one piece, right? But dude, every pickup truck is made like that. Doesn't matter if it's American, Japanese, whatever. Investors don't know any better. Yep.
This allowed us to do things in parallel, fully rethinking the process and reducing the final assembly line by about 10%. And we thought maybe we could do this other places.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, the constraints become part of the
solution. Yeah, it's called body chassis marriage. Pickup trucks have been dude, he was talking about, Henry Ford invented this process in 1922. Pickup trucks, the Model T was made like that from 1913 onwards. Like, nope.
When you think about what
Try
I'm trying
again.
to say, I really want to hammer this home.
I was wondering how
Columbus
this got
5
made.
meters long, and you have people working around it like we did in Model 3. And we change that to this process where we take different parts of the car.
Nice.
And we can do more at the same time, like we did with the Model Y structural battery pack. What you see here is us doing that on the front part of the vehicle or the rear part of the vehicle.
I do keep saying that Elon took, dude, I'm telling you, Elon is copying Henry Ford's playbook, but swap out an internal combustion engine car with an EV. I'm telling you, just like, in terms of Tesla manufacturing. Jeez.
Cool. That means we can get more people working on the car.
I think we watched this event live at the time. Did I say the same thing, Mason? Because I seem to recall this
at the same
being
time.
A thing.
That means we have better operator density, less time doing nothing. I call that space-time efficiency. It has nothing to do with quantum mechanics. We can have that conversation later.
Take it out back.
We get 44% more operator density, which means more work, less time walking back to the station, 30%.
No, spoiled. Yeah, no, he's right. This works. Yeah, I'm not saying that their space-time efficiency improvement isn't improved by this. I'm just saying it's really not anything new. You were half asleep?
Improvement in space-time efficiency. And because we're not building it in and out of the car with those slow movements of those robots I showed you from production hell, when we go to automate it, it's going to be a lot easier. In the end, that will probably look something like this, where we balance parallel and series manufacturing in a way where we only do things that are necessary, with a much shorter final line, blocking a lot less of the entire rest of the factory.
Should watch Sandy Monroe. You could learn how Tesla is far more advanced in its manufacturing method. See that? You see that? That parallel processing? Hold on a second. So, take a look. This is Henry Ford's Willow Run plant. Built this during World War II to manufacture B-24s. What does that look like to you? It's the same thing, dude. It's the same thing. I'm telling you. All the primary structural components go around the corner here. They go this way. And then final assembly starts here. And then as they get further and further towards final assembly, stuff is added from the sides. The gigacasting is now okay. With all that being said, the gigacasting is definitely Tesla's own thing, and that is super cool. I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm just trying to tell you this has been thought of before.
So we can optimize material flow using the best practices. And what that means, it's going to look something like this, where we build all the sides of the cars independently. We only paint what we need to, and then we assemble the parts of the car once and only once. We put them where they need to go. The interior is attached from a bottom-up or a top-down strategy, so there's more access for those robots and people. We aren't moving heavy objects around and doing nothing to it. And it means we're doing more work on the car more of the time. And then when we take all of these tested sub-assemblies and we put them together, we finally assemble the car only one time, putting the sides on with all of their parts to a front and rear that was already assembled, carrying the floor in with the seats, and finally boxing it out with the doors one time, just like Cybertruck. So in the end, you get the same car, but
Hey fellas, do Teslas have panel gap problems? Not anymore, Sean? Not as bad as they used to be. Mason, yeah. That's cool that they fixed it, and that's all fine and dandy. That manufacturing it like that is going to give you panel gap problems. So that's probably, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying, oh, there's a panel gap, it sucks. Anytime you're doing something different, right, you're going to have to figure out new and innovative ways to do things. I understand that. I'm saying that that's probably the reason why they had panel gap problems, because they didn't assemble the body of the car together first.
aren't moving heavy objects around and doing nothing to it. And it means we're doing more work on the car more of the time. And then when we take all of these tested sub-assemblies and we put them together, we finally assemble the car only one time, putting the sides on with all of their parts to a front and rear that was already assembled, carrying the floor in with the seats, and finally boxing it out with the doors one time. Just like...
See, that, like I said, that's my guess as to why a lot of Teslas had panel gap problems, because they're assembling them differently. There's a reason why, like with a unibody car, why you assemble the whole body of the car first for painting and panel gap fitment, and then you take it off, and then you put it together, and then you separate it, and you put it back together again. The reason why they do that is because of panel gap fitment in quality control. That's why that happens, to make sure that it's a QA check to make sure the stampings came out right. What we call meteorology is a big deal to us. Our gap fit issues are pretty much gone. Lots of vision, and it's mostly automated. Nice. Ideas are a dime a dozen, as you know. It's the execution that matters. Tesla, we should see Tesla use this whole unbox process in their next gen vehicles. Oh, they're not using it in their current vehicles. Well, then my point's moot.
Like Cybertruck. So in the end, you get the same car, but it's not going to be
interesting. All right, guys. Well, I could talk about cars with you guys all night, but it's been a weird space news. Yeah. If you guys don't mind, I'm gonna forego after hours, dude. I'm just, yeah. I don't think the whole politics discussion just took the wind out of my sails, man. No sewage talk. We really should. You Lean Six Sigma just-in-time manufacturing. Yeah. I've been impressed by Tesla since day one. Still am. But when they get to making 80 per hour, 3 shifts in 4 plants, we can talk apples to apples. And I think they're pretty much approaching that pretty quick, dude. I don't get it. What's sewage talk? Oh, it's where it's our code word for talking about you behind your back, sewer rat. Seems like that topic is draining everyone even more than usual. Not surprised you're a bit drained. Guys, I got put in a position today where in order to explain what was going on, I had to play the rhetoric game a little bit, and I didn't like it. I really didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. I don't want to do that again. It just felt wrong. If you guys don't mind, and, you know, let me know. And this isn't a permanent change. If you guys don't mind, I think, if I'm understanding this right, I think now would probably be a decent time to adapt the schedule a little bit, to just have days where we just bury ourselves in a game and just not think about real life. You know what I mean? Is that fair? I think, oh, okay, Baron. Cool. That's what games are for. I think that's what we need. I think that's what I need. I'm getting tired of it, dude. Like, I don't want to sit here and, you know, I don't want to sit here and be like, oh no, this is good, or no, this is bad. I don't know, man. I have no idea. We'll figure it out when we figure it out. I'd be good if we only saved Space News for Flame Trench for a bit, unless something crazy happened. Yeah, okay, you know, when Rook gets in there and stuff starts happening again, we can go to doing it we could go to doing Space News, like, you know, we'll go back to doing it almost every day, like 4 times a week. But now, right now, I'm thinking, like, I don't know, dude. I don't know, maybe just skip a day a week or something. Yeah, weather guy, the problem is that our haven is getting invaded by Rule 8 nonsense. Space News should be Flame Trench exclusive. Nah, I don't want to stop doing Space News completely, guys, because it helps me talk through stuff and understand what's going on in the industry. I'm thinking like Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So we do a Space News on Monday, do a Space News on Wednesday, and then do Flame Trench on Friday. And I think that's good enough. For now. But, like, once again, this is not a permanent change. Just when the news cycle gets a little bit more optimistic. Space News is my prep for flame trench. That's right. Yeah, it helps me prepare to have a really good flame trench. Yep. It's been pretty poopy. Yep. Space and politics are never going to completely separate. Yeah, for sure, spoiled. I know. Up until pretty recently, I've been able to separate it, but like, I've been able to steer clear, but you know, I'm not saying this is a good thing. I'm not saying this is a bad thing. With Elon and the president being really close friends, it's very difficult. My job has gotten significantly harder. Don't get me wrong. I sit here and talk to you guys about space play video games. You know what I mean? It's factors of difficulty, right? Like it's not like, oh my God, my job is so difficult. It's just harder than it was, you know? Yeah, I think, like I said, this is just temporary. We'll go back to doing space and rocket reviews 4 times a week when, like, I'm probably thinking, like, after Rook gets confirmed or something. Yeah. So, yeah, we'll do space news just for the time being on Mondays and Wednesdays. You know, Monday to catch up in case I missed anything during the weekend, and then Wednesdays just through the week. And then I think Tuesday and Thursday we'll just play games. Take mini breaks in between what we're doing to talk about different things and then go from there. You know, like, appreciate you, bro. Just jumped in with an impromptu space news for big stuff, please. Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that one, dude. Hide your kids, hide your wife. What's that, Mason? Lone Robotics. Oh, this thing. I saw this thing, dude. Yeah, crazy, man. Maybe keep the politically sensitive topics till last. Sometimes it's pertinent news, spoiled. That's the problem. Like, Jim Free stepping down is a big deal. But if, you know, thinking about it the way I'm thinking about it, I think he was going to retire anyway. And I don't think he likes the president either. So, he was working at NASA. Like, look, all right, you know, I might be connecting dots that aren't there. He worked at NASA during Constellation. He started working on SLS, stopped working at NASA in 2016, and then started working at NASA in 2020 again, and now stopped working at NASA in 2024. Connect the dots, you know, like, so, like, anyway. All right. That's going to do it for me, guys. I'm going to stop for the night. You know, I think we'll split the stream tomorrow. We'll play 6 hours of Timberborn and 6 hours of Workers. You know, we'll just split it. Yeah, let's do, yeah, we'll play Timberborn and Workers tomorrow, okay? Who are we raiding? I'm gonna go to sleep, dude. Yeah, it's just getting tough, dude. I don't know, man. Part of me is like, I don't want to throw in the towel, you know, and people, you know, I've tried to inform people as best as I can. It's just gotten really difficult lately. So, I don't know, man. We'll try playing games all tomorrow and we'll go from there. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, guys. Sorry about that. Like, I don't feel good about making this decision, but you know, we'll see what happens. Okay. I'll see you guys tomorrow for Beavers and Resources. Okay. Thank you very much for watching and have a good night. Okay.